Hello everybody and welcome. We're here and today there's actual matches being streamed, so I will go ahead really quickly, pull up the VLR, and we will take a look at the challengers. So I'm going to quickly recap before we get into the match that is currently happening. Sorry for being late, by the way. I had some stuff come up, but we're not too late. So I'm going to quickly recap what happened yesterday. So 32 teams qualified of the a little over 128 that entered. I think it was around like 130 something, which is still a lot of teams. I think that's actually kind of insane. But anyways, 32 of those teams qualified. I'm not going to read them all out right now. I'll do that after. And what did they qualify for? Well, they qualified for Phase 2. This is not qualification for Challengers, the main event. This is qualification for Phase 2. Phase 2 is now all these top 32 teams enter into a double elimination bracket. So each team gets 2 chances. If you make it and you win your upper semis, you qualify. If you make it and you win your lower semis, you qualify. 4 teams will qualify, 2 from the upper bracket, 2 from the lower bracket, and that's what we're at. So currently, this match that I'm going to be broadcasting right now is Van Lin versus Burgerville. Burgerville is up a map. Let's just go ahead and take a little look. And I do apologize again for the delay, but I'm happy to be here. Okay. It is Sunset, obviously the newer map, and this is going to be one of the bigger tournaments that it's been in. Obviously, a little bit of a testing ground before Champions, or not Champions, but Champions Tour starts, VCT. We do have Burgerville up 5-2, so they are looking to potentially make this a 2-0, move right onto the next round of the upper bracket, and send Van Lin down to fighting for their life in the lower bracket. Do have them slowly creeping their way up mid. Did see Alvin go through tiles to really just make sure that they weren't going to be caught off guard by any players in market here. Tommy coming from top mid, very much so ready to try and get a kill if they need to. Alvin does spot out the trip, but that does tell them where they are. Van Lin now deciding to take this fight in towards B main, and it's going decently well, although Alvin with the flank does come through. Despite knowing that the flank was there, Van Lin did not properly assess the situation, and they will be punished for that, as now we do have Milkshack and Tommy getting ready to move in towards the site. Alvin does take out Tommy, and now it's going to be 1v3 for Milkshack, and all they have is an operator. They get a kill into Katsumi. Alright, you got 1 kill. How many more can you get? The remaining 2 players are in main. One of them is extremely low, but it won't matter as much when there's an operator. Oh, okay, Milkshack's gonna miss the shot out to the wingman. At this point, I would say it's too little time, a bit too late. There is a mosh pit coming through. Milkshack will be able to get it halved, and Alvin trying to punish them getting off of the spike. Not quite going to be able to. Milkshack's gonna have to defuse, and bit of hesitancy before getting on the spike may have just cost them that half a second they needed to defuse. So Van Lin will find themselves losing yet another round. They're now going to be down 2-6. Not great. Not a great start if you are Van Lin. Again, this is double elimination now, right? So you can rest a little bit easier. You're not fighting for your life, because when you were playing yesterday, right, if you lost, that was it. If you lost your best of 3, that was it. You had a bad day. That's your only chance until Open Qualifier number 2. So, and of course, 4 teams are going to qualify from Open Qualifier number 1, and only 2 will qualify from number 2. So, this is really going to be your easier chance, I'd say. Although, of course, the fiercer teams won't be in Qualifier number 2 because they will have already qualified. So, you know, that you know, it's an interesting scenario. Anyways, we do have Burgerville getting ready to execute towards A, and not just getting ready, they pretty successfully started their way in. Katsumi, Sneerant doing quite a bit of good damage, and once again, a player from Van Lin finds themselves in a 1v3. It's Pavican this time, Pavican. It's a nice head tap with the Sheriff to now make this a 1v2, and the operator on Jala not going to be destroyed by Pavican, and that does mean that the spike will not be defused, and Burgerville is now up 7-2. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily Sunset is a defense-sided map. I do think the offense has a lot of opportunity for taking space very quickly. So I do think Finland probably has a good chance on their defense. Obviously, we do see some interesting team compositions on Burgerville, right? You've got Gecko coming out. Haven't seen that in a while, but I suppose with the recent changes both to the map and the agents at play, a player like Skye or an agent like Skye is currently not the most playable in the world. Alvin going to take out Zamal. XNB is going to trade it off, but Sneerat also going to take out Tommy, and that does keep the advantage in for Burgerville until XNB does take out Arkrum. But XNB will fall. So Vanlin finds themselves down in player. They do need to retake as the spike has gone down. It's 2v3. Bobby Cam coming in. Need to do some damage if they can. No, Katsumi on very low HP. Doesn't matter. Still going to find the kill there. Once again, Milkshack in a 1v3 with nothing but an operator and ready to use it. Although Sneerat jump peeking does spot them out. A concussion will come through, and of course you can't stay scoped in when you're concussed. And Sneerat will punish. 3 players left alive, and Burgerville is definitely starting to feel pretty good about themselves. They came into this map with a map up on series points, and they're looking like they're going to take it pretty quickly. They'll join a few of the other teams in very quickly 2-0ing their way through the tournament. Shopify Rebellion, one of those teams that was able to 2-0 yesterday both of their matches, pushing quite a ways through, similar to what we saw from them in Game Changers, so not super surprising. But now we do have Burgerville getting ready to approach mid once again. Seems to be a common theme here. You send Alvin, clear through tiles. Despite the fact that this is a repeated tactic from them, doesn't seem like Van Lin really acknowledges that at all. Oh, we do see the Lear come out. That could be helpful. Sorry, not the Lear. Oh my goodness, Alvin going to find 2. Jawa finds 2 as well, and it's once again 3 players remaining for Burgerville, and it is just looking like it's going to be a fairly clean sweep. 1 round away from that 9-3 lead, possibly 9-3 curse, although the way Burgerville's looking, they have secured quite a massive run here in the advantage. Just with the amount of damage that they've been able to do up until this point, where Van Lin has only gotten 2 rounds, one of them being that first round win. And yeah, it's just not looking super good if you are Van Lin. And Van Lin is actually a team I've had my eye on for a little bit, so saw them yesterday, was hoping they'd make it this far, and they did. So I was excited to get to see them play, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they're going to be able to make it too far today. Maybe in the lower bracket they'll have an opportunity. Jawa does take out Zamal. It's an easy start for Burgerville to once again find themselves with the player advantage. Alvin going for a massive hero play. Able to get a flank through. Tommy will go down, but Poppy is there to trade it off. Although Sneerat, good timing on the peak, going to take out XNB and Poppy Cam. And once again, Milkshack in a clutch situation. Able to get it down to another 1v3. Does get caught out with Cypher Cam. Is able to take it off. Sneerat is extremely low on HP. Could be an easy kill, although they are going to be hiding. This cross is going to be extremely difficult to push through. They're trying to get a jump peek through the smoke, but they're just messing it up. And the Archrum's had enough and just going to fire right through. And that does mean Burgerville finds themselves up 10-2 going into the second half. And yeah, it's not looking super winnable if you are Van Lin. 8 rounds down. You are... I mean, you're looking at a very, very uphill slope here. You're going to have to get at least 10 rounds in the half. And that means you'd still have to fight through overtime. So ideally, you'd want 11 rounds in the half, so you don't have to fight through overtime. But obviously, when your opponent's at 10 rounds up, it's going to be extremely difficult, especially when we've seen the firepower that Burgerville has brought in up until this point. They very clearly understand this map. They're flowing through it very beautifully. I suppose when a new map enters the map pool, you do want to make sure you've studied it, and you want to make sure that you can handle it correctly, and it does look as though Burgerville has done just that. Especially coming into this as a free agent team, you do need to sort of make some waves in your contact, and well, Burgerville has started to do that. Tell they've been practicing, especially for this map in particular. Van Lin getting ready to start this execution towards B. There was quite the Cypher setup that sort of slows them down. Arkrum will get away with their life as well, going to regroup with their team. Van Lin is deciding to go for an aggressive play in towards CT. Potentially, no, not quite ready, and Van Lin will find themselves a beautiful timing as Milkshack will find 3. Arkram gonna shut it down, but the damage has been done, and Arkram is in a 1v4. Zamal was one of those players who was also able to find a kill, but they're very low on HP, so Arkram could get a nice pick there. But on the pistol, you're not going for picks, you're going for wins, and XNB going to secure it for Van Lin. So if there's going to be a start to a comeback that you would want, it is getting that pistol round win. And of course, as I mentioned, this map can tend to favor the offense, so that does help out Van Lin a little bit here if they are going to make that hero run that they need to in order to stay in this upper bracket. We do have Poppycam going for the Outlaw. Alright. It'll be interesting to see the damage that can be done there. Obviously, everyone has sort of their thoughts and feelings, but it still has not been nerfed, so that does mean the Outlaw is very much so a powerful weapon, especially in these anti-ecos, right? Because your opponent's not going to have full shield most likely, which means you can just get a free kill pretty easily. You know, Marshall was already that, but now you can do it when they don't have full shield. You can just have light shield. Anyways, Arkram coming for the flank does find a kill. They acknowledge it's a B hit. The flank can come through from Burgerville, and they do find themselves up a player. Gun can be picked up as well, but it is still going to be a 5v4, where Van Lin has quite a few guns. Alvin, though, going to find one. Katsumi as well. Tommy the Stinger, able to trade off Katsumi. Wingman coming through, not quite going to concuss Tommy, fighting around this mailbox. Arkram's going to find one. Tommy able to take out Jawa, but not enough, and that does mean, although they came into this round with the gun advantage, Van Lin will not walk away with an anti-eco win, and Burgerville will secure themselves their 11th round. So they're up now 11-3. 2 rounds away from a win, 1 round away from series point, and I think they absolutely want to be there. Van Lin, again, they're going to have to win 10 in a row if they want to win without it going to overtime. And if they want to win with it going to overtime, I guess, with that possibility, they need at least 9. So there's quite a bit of work to be done. This is exactly what we saw from Van Lin as well in the first half. They got the pistol, couldn't get much else after that. Ooh, I have not seen an ADS on a Phantom like that in a very long time, or a Vandal even. Alvin gonna find 2. Zamal is able to trade it off with a Stinger. Jawa also finds themselves very low on HP, on a 16. They are 1 hit. Katsumi on site with a Stinger. Sitting in default, pretty... Should be relatively expected. Never mind, Katsumi's still going to get the drop on Zamal, who's trying to peek. Poppycam is going to trade it, but it's going to be retraded by Øneheart to maintain a 3v1 for Burgerville. XMB is able to find a pick on the Øneheart. Jawa does try and trade it off, but don't quite get to find it. Very aware that Poppycam could be anywhere. Jawa does go down. The 1v3 clutch dream not going to come through, as Arkram does have that Outlaw, as I was talking about. And it can do a lot of damage to a team or a player who came into this with not much shield to begin with. And that does mean Burgerville is now on series point. Van Lin doesn't have the eco to work with, as they did force a little bit going into that round. So you can see them struggling here. Bulldog, Guardian. It is a very, very low buy, unfortunately, for Van Lin. And it looks like the dream of winning and qualifying through the upper bracket may not be on the table for Van Lin, but a reminder, it is the upper bracket. It's a double elimination tournament at this point, now that we're in phase 2, and so that does mean that Van Lin still has another opportunity to, you know, clean up their sunset play moving into that lower bracket. Arkram gonna take out Zamal, just make it a 5v4 for Burgerville. 5v3 now as Arkram finds another. Poppycam does find 2. Katsumi gonna take out Poppycam, and as XNB takes out Katsumi, it's actually gonna be a 2v2. Van Lin is in this, and Jawa goes down. Arkram would have to clutch a 1v2 here. Now, Rolling Thunder gonna delay any attempt at a retake here. Arkram did know where those players were. They are aware of the possible positioning here, although they are going to get timing. The XNB will take out Arkram, and that does mean that Van Lin is still in this, now only needing 8 instead of 3 to get into OT. And Burgerville feeling pretty good about themselves. I mean, how could you not be, especially considering look at the previous scoreline from the previous half. You'll notice Van Lin got the first and fourth round, and here Van Lin gets the first and fourth round. So, I wouldn't be feeling great about history repeating itself. But Van Lin, of course, not going to let it go down easy. They definitely don't want history to repeat itself. And they're going to attempt to make sure it doesn't. XNB, who catches Alvin off guard, who's trying to make an aggressive play down tiles. They will be punished. Jawa coming in for a bit of a flank down, moving towards peeking tiles from that A main entrance. And Sneerat will be able to take out Zamal. Poppycam trades it off, so player advantage maintained for Van Lin. Katsumi takes out Tommy. XNB takes out Katsumi. Jawa able to take out XNB, so player advantage no longer maintained. It's going to be a 2v2. Thrash comes out, doesn't do anything. It does get paranoid, can't see too much. Milkshot thinking about it, not quite able to hit those shots. Jawa, the sole defender on A right now. Gonna have to be backed up here pretty soon by Arkram. But this has allowed a decent amount of time. Jawa actually going to do the wraparound. Able to pick up a gun as well, so that's good for them. Switch to the Vandal. Clear out your angles. Spike still not down, although the site has been taken. Ooh, Jawa gonna have to destroy that cam. They may have been spotted out. And they will do that. Oh, Milkshack may have been able to isolate the fight, but Arkram with a nice headshot with the Sheriff just gonna shut it down. Jawa finds the final kill, and history does repeat itself. And Van Lin finds themselves out of the upper bracket into the lower bracket. A bit unfortunate, to say the least. But we'll sort of go over what has already occurred in the rest of the bracket. I do want to take a look here at the Shopify Rebellion match, which does have casters, I believe, and also an ad apparently. But anyways, we'll go ahead and talk about this Open Qualifier number 1. So this phase 1 of the Open Qualifier number 1 was a single elimination format. So just over 128 teams enter in, and only 32 walk out. So round of 256, which a lot of teams got a bye through. Only a few had to fight. Round of 128, then a round of 64. This round of 64 were going to fight, and if you won, you qualified. And 32 teams did. And now all of those teams get to move on to the round of 32, and not just the round of 32, but also the double elimination bracket. So you can see we've got these matches being put in here. But we will go ahead and take a look here at what is, I believe, let's take a look here at Let Us Cook versus Shopify Rebellion. So we will go ahead and take a look here. Keep the volume relatively low because there are other casters. Don't want to get it too crazy. Shout out to Keg, love him. Okay, 9-6 though. Shopify finds themselves in the lead. Now Shopify has a habit of dominating qualifiers. If you've watched their Game Changers performances, especially the most recent Game Changers qualifier where they qualified for the main event of Game Changers 2024, North America, I should say. But regardless, you saw them get through those qualifiers relatively quickly. They faced some pushback, which is rare for Shopify. They did face a little bit of pushback, but they did not lose. Made it through flawlessly. And Let Us Cook going to start this round off with the first kill. It's Poppin, of course, going to be the one to find it. It's been a while since I've seen Poppin play competitively like this. And we do see, of course, Shopify on an eco right now. Makes it a little bit chaotic here. As we do have Let Us Cook moving in, getting ready to plant the spike. Bancroft takes out Alexis. Noya going to take out Poppin. It's going to be a 4v3. 3v3 now. Sarah takes out Cameron. And Cairo and Bancroft is going to find one. Does make it a 1v3 for Sarah. Not going to do much else. And Rukia is fluorescent. Or, wait. Sorry. Yeah, fluorescent. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I wasn't messing up there. So Rukia is fluorescent. And in case you're unaware, Shopify Rebellion did have a or sorry, not a game changers team, a challengers team for 2023 that actually got a free slot in this year's. What they ended up doing though was just merging with Moist Moguls and becoming Moist Shopify, and so they no longer have a challengers team. So what they did is they took their game changers team, which they bought version 1, and turned that into their main roster. And so they could technically have 2 teams in challengers if Shopify is able to qualify. Poppin does take out Mel. Started off as they were trying to explode onto the site. Poppin will go down though. It's traded, so it's a 4v4. And this A site will be taken. Spike does get to go down. Good for Let Us Cook. At 7-9, they're looking to tie it up and prevent this from being a 2-0 sweep, knocking them into the lower bracket. We do have Let Us Cook getting ready to defend this spike. Shopify is getting ready to defuse. The delay, the stall is working out. The Shopify can just stick it. Alexis just going to stay on it. Noya finds 2. Rukia. Fluorescent does find 1. And then Jangler going to take out Noya. So minimal deaths for Shopify. And Let Us Cook finds themselves somehow getting that spike defused right under their noses. Shopify does get to stabilize their eco a bit. They're going to get to buy here. And now they are up 10-7. Neural Theft is available for Noya here. Could be an impactful ult, especially on Bind, where ease of rotation is sort of the name of the game for the offense, and really they have to use that in order to win rounds on this offense. There's just so many choke points in those entrances that the ease of rotation is the biggest thing. That's why that TP was moved closer to Showers, was that way the offense had a bit of an easier time with that ease of rotation. Poppin going to do a good job finding 2 in the entry through Hookah. Sarah is going to trade it off, but it's still going to be a player advantage here for Let Us Cook, as they will be up 4-3. Neural Theft still there for Noya if they can get to a body, but I don't think they'll be able to, as they're still holding out hope that maybe it's an A hit. In fact, they believe it is. Fluorescent with the operator going to rotate over towards A, which does leave Sarah to anchor on B. They're going to find themselves in quite a sticky situation here. Smoke's about to drop. In response, Let Us Cook will entry in. Snake bites go out. And the poison cloud from the opponent does come through. Oh, and Sarah is able to take out Bancroft. Jangler trades it off immediately, though, so player advantage maintained for Let Us Cook. And again, Shopify had banked on this being an A-hit. Poor gamble. And the anchor in Sarah could not do enough to at least keep it even. Cairo is very low on health, so that could be a good kill for Shopify, but never mind, as they will end up taking out Fluorescent. So it's just down to Noya. We just saw Cyphers ending up in 1v3s multiple times in the previous series we just watched, but Cairo will shut it down. Noya not going to have an opportunity to clutch. So 8-10, 2-round lead going to be maintained here for Shopify. And now they have to take another eco. You've seen Let Us Cook have a pretty good run coming into this half, as the first half was a little bit more even matched. We can sort of reverse engineer it here. It was 3-9, 9-3. Sort of the name of the game I've found on Bind is if there's going to be a map where there's a 9-3 curse. It used to be Pearl for me, but obviously that's not in the map pool anymore, so I'll say it's Bind. And it does look like Let Us Cook wants to make that happen. We saw 9-3 be very punishing historically in challengers, specifically for Moist Moguls. Not just 9-3, but I think 10-2 as well, towards the end of Split 2. Or sorry, towards the end of the playoffs, when they needed it most. They struggled on Bind quite a bit, ended up going to OT, and then I think they lost, and that was sort of the map that set it all for Moist, and they didn't end up qualifying for Ascension because of that. So, bit of history and challengers of those sort of 9-3, 10-2 comebacks on Bind specifically. And I do think Let Us Cook would love to repeat that here. And we do have a Neural Theft, Viper's Pit, both available for Shopify. That Neural Theft was never used. Viper's Pit could be used here to gain quite a bit of control, although it's going to be an aggressive gamble towards B, just based off of where they've seen the most aggression. Although I will say, perhaps a bit dicey. Although this is a bit of a split play from Let Us Cook, so they may be able to find some good contact. I will say player compositions here aren't interesting, as Mel will take it. Cairo does now make this a 4v5. Gun can be picked up if they can get to it, although you do see Cameron here on the chamber. If there's a map I've seen chamber on the most since the nerfs, it is certainly bind, but still don't necessarily know how I feel about it. I think there's a time and a place. We'll see if Lettuce Cook can make it work here. The lower bracket of death. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be exciting, I suppose. I think I wish it was a little bit more I wish there was a little bit of a longer qualifier, just because like people are playing so many matches every day, and I do feel like it's gonna wear on teams. So it's about stamina more so than like consistent performance, I think, or like not consistent performance, but like in-game performance. It's about how many maps can you actually go. But ooh, we do see Mel able to take out Pop, and again going to maintain that lead. That's that gun that they picked up earlier, going for that flank. Jangler is able to take out Rukia, which will minimize some of that damage. It's now going to be a 3v4 for Lettuce Cook. Noya going to take out Bancroft. Mel going to take out Jangler. Cameron going to take out Mel. Cameron also going to take out Alexis. Now it's a 1v2. Do you see the Headhunter come out momentarily? One shot in the operator. And now decides to expend it and switch to the Tour de Force. And they're not going to find contact. Spraying through the smoke. Oh, but never mind. Sarah almost able to just stick the spike once again. Spraying through the smoke. Cameron struggled, but they do somehow find the kill. Although Thrifty will come through as Noya is able to close it out and pick up an operator. Very solid round from Shopify to deny any further momentum from Lettuce Cook. It just seems, although Lettuce Cook had a very good run to start off this second half, Shopify has realized, all right, we've let them have their fun. It's time to shut them down. It does look as though that will be the case. Lettuce Cook, their eco not quite dwindling too much yet, but it is starting to wear on them, certainly. Fluorescent once again finds themselves with the operator. And, you know, sort of this is why you go chamber on this map, is because you want to have a player with an operator on bind, and you don't want to play Jet. But I do think a lot of players have been able to make it work on Raze, although Fluorescent not showing that right here, as they do a pretty bad whiff. Never mind, going to recover, peek right back into Showers. Poppin will go down, they re-peek again, Bancroft goes down. That's both of those players that were testing towards Showers. That almost forces Lettuce Cook to try and take some of their aggression towards B, which they do. Cameraman making quite a bit of noise. Question is, do they, or not cameraman, Cameron making quite a bit of noise towards B. The question is, how much can they actually make here before? I mean, Shopify at a certain point might feel like they're getting baited out. And since they're backing up just a little bit, although not quite enough of a bait. The placement of these trips definitely might catch someone out, although Cameron is able to take him out. 5v3, and the spike may have the opportunity to go down. The incendiary just prevented a little bit. And now spike goes down. Viper's Pit comes out as well. So this could be a pretty good post plant for Lettuce Cook, right? Shopify's had a lot of success on those ecos, not as much on the buy rounds. It is now this 3v5, and Cameron will find themselves taking out Mel. Cairo going to take out Sarah. Cameron going to take out Rukia, and Lettuce Cook finds themselves closing it out. It was a 3v5. Suddenly, 2 players left alive, as Lettuce Cook will find themselves with a round win, giving Shopify yet another eco round. I mean, how many of these can you win before you just find yourself sort of stuck? Shopify will need to figure that out. Lettuce Cook wants to figure it out as well. How do you shut down those eco round wins? And I do think Shopify's just been doing a really good job of correctly aggressing. And I think for a good reason. I do think perhaps Let Us Cook maybe splits up a bit too much in those early rounds, right? They're expecting, in the early round, I should say, they're expecting that aggressive play when Shopify is on those ecos. They're reading it, ready for it, and then it doesn't really go that well as far as defending against it. Because Shopify sort of understands that they're expected. I do think Shopify also needs to sort of figure out why these buy rounds haven't been super successful for them, and I think it's because when they're on these eco rounds, they're playing very aggressively, very together, and able to keep each other alive, support one another. But when they're on those buys, they do sort of end up splitting up a bit towards those sites, as you usually want to. But that does sort of prevent some of that same team play element you'd want to see, and it sort of forces them to depend on individual performance, which we saw come through from Fluorescent, but the rest of the team couldn't really clean up after that point. And now Let Us Cook does get ready to aggress towards B. We do have 3 players from Shopify here. They did decide not to go for that aggressive play, but they are stacked up here, ready to take this fight. Flash comes through, not going to find a pick off of it, though. Poppin will take out Mel. I believe that, I don't know if that was a team flash or not, but another flash comes through. Bancroft able to take out Fluorescent. Alexi's going to take out Bancroft. It's now going to be a 4v3 for Let Us Cook. Guns can be picked up as well. Shopify finds themselves down a player, which, again, for an eco, not amazing. It seems Let Us Cook has correctly reassessed their anti-ecos, and Cairo will be able to find those 2 kills to make it a 1v4 for Noya. And all Noya is a Sheriff, and I don't think they're going to be able to pick up a gun here. Maybe they'll try on this flank. They're going to encounter a trademark, though. Although it is out of range. I was about to say it might be out of range, and it is. It does mean Noya gets to sneak past it. Although you can see Let Us Cook is very aware that that trademark is out of range. Still, you would expect maybe to pick it back up, but regardless, Let Us Cook is ready to defend. Noya just barely seen. Jangler going to take this fight. Head just barely seen from both parties, and Cairo going to be the one to spray through into Hookah, and Noya will go down. 3 kills for Cairo. Very successful round, and now Shopify is 1 round away from having the round differential tied up here, losing that lead that they came into the half with, because they were up 9-3. They have a showstopper to utilize, and I do think Fluorescent's been playing very, very well and doing exactly what you need from your Rays on defense the majority of the time. Most importantly, though, Shopify now has guns. And again, that timeout that was taken by Let Us Cook was an opportunity for Shopify to figure out how they wanted to change things up as well. And we'll see if they did. Poppin does get caught out in the entry onto site, and Alexis will punish, but Sarah goes down to Bancroft. And that does mean B site open for the taking. Alexis is still here in elbow. They're getting flushed out here. Trailblazer will come through. Alexis acknowledging it might be an aggressive push here. Alexis taking advantage of the fact that the Sky Flash, the Guiding Light, does end up coming to a conclusion. Oh, and really horrible timing. Cameron going to take out Alexis. And Noya is going to find themselves possibly needing to clutch out another situation as the entire team has started to split up. Mel takes out Cameron. Cairo trades it off. 2v3 right now for Shopify. Rukia might get caught out here. No, never mind. Sorry, not Rukia, Fluorescent. Going to take out Jangler. Now it's a 2v2. Showstopper can come out. They're ready to clear out space, and Cairo shuts them down. And as I mentioned, Noya now in that clutch scenario. 1v2. Spike gets tapped. Diffusal coming through. Not quite a fancy moment. Head tap comes through, but Cairo does shut down Noya. 11-11 is the scoreline. And it's been tied up. Most importantly, though, this gives an opportunity for Let Us Cook to not only make a comeback, but make a comeback without it going to overtime. And I don't think Shopify wants that. They find themselves on another eco. They keep finding themselves in this position, and they were winning them a little bit. But they did struggle on the most recent one, so it does seem that that attempt at continual eco round wins is going to be shut down. So we'll see. They do end up playing it here. And Cameron is 1 out point away from that tour de force. Could be a massive factor here. They might want to contest for it as they push down long. Alexis takes out Poppin. Cairo does trade it off, though. Cameron going to be able to take out Mel. Now looking like maybe, yeah, getting ready to go and push down long. Possibly to grab that orb. And this is a pretty, I won't say easy fight, but it should be pretty clean. Actually, the orb going to go Brimstone, which is fair. Sarah, again, continuing to try and anchor and stall. Very aware. This team is very, very aware of the possibility of a rotate, but that's why you've got Noya watching it, making sure not to get caught out by the trademark. And they do avoid it. That does mean a flank may be successful for Noya because at the time that trademark was up and Noya was able to sneak past. So I think Noya could have a very successful flank here. Question is, does Cameron get ready to anticipate it at a certain point? No, not quite. And that's going to be an easy kill. Cairo, meanwhile, going to entry onto the site and find the kill. And you now see the entirety of Let Us Cook taking TP, moving over towards A. It's that ease of rotation I was talking about. That bind allows you to have sometimes. And Rukia, Fluorescent, able to take out Jangler. Noya going to find 2 more, and that's going to close it out. 3 kills for Noya. That flank play was extremely successful, and that's Shopify learning from what has already happened, right? You had that trademark being placed there pretty consistently, and Noya, having acknowledged that, was hoping that they could find a timing where they were early enough in the push where Let Us Cook wasn't on set yet, so they weren't expecting that trademark to be down. And there you go. They found it perfectly as Noya was able to, I believe, probably use that cyber cage to get around it. They're able to come for the flank, and it's a pretty easy kill in Hookah. So Shopify, again, showing that adaptability that you really want to see from a Game Changers Champions 2023 team. And again, if they want to make waves here in Challengers, it's that type of stuff you want to see. Let Us Cook now going to have to take it to overtime if they really want to close this out. Again, Shopify has a potential to get yet another 2-0 through this tournament. And this is one of those first times that Shopify has faced a decent amount of pushback here, I believe, so far in Challengers. I will say they were struggling a little bit in Game Changers Open qualifiers towards the end there. They still did end up winning for the qualification, but that is something to think about. Fluorescent able to get a nice kill into Cameron, who was trying to flank through showers. Now it's going to be a 4v5. Let Us Cook has sight. Spike not down yet. It's been a very awkward sort of round. Ooh, Orbital Strike is going to delay that plant. And now with 35-ish seconds left, that does mean Let Us Cook has to make something happen. They're planning for CT here, which will be interesting as there's sort of a pinch happening from Shopify. They've got 2 coming in through CT, 3 going in through showers. Guiding Light can come through, trying to make some contact for the flank, but that does mean that they're aware that this push is coming through CT, whilst also being aware that there's a push coming through showers. Poppin from Heaven going to find 2. Sarah and Noya immediately get 2 trade picks, though, so player advantage maintained for Shopify. Bancroft going to be able to take out Noya. Alexis finds 1. Sarah gets off of the spike and takes out Jangler. Very successful final round as Shopify will take it 13-11. 2-0 victory once again for Shopify, as they are going to move even deeper in this tournament as they find themselves... Where are they on this bracket? Hold on. As they do find themselves going to face a BTR fan club. It's going to be exciting. It is shaping up to be a very exciting day so far. This match has not yet started, I don't think. So we are sort of just waiting here. We might be able to... This one's going to be on Knights Arena... Currently, it's on Knights Arena. Oh, I found the perfect timing. Oh my goodness, look at me. Okay, we've got Knights Arena coming out here with the stream on their main channel, I suppose. All right, so SaD versus QoR. These are 2 teams which I think have circled around each other for a while, so I think this is a pretty good matchup. And map 1 will be Bind. as SaD does find themselves up 2 rounds to start it off, so they did win their pistol and their anti-eco. QoR now going to be able to afford a buy, and that does mean SaD is sort of on this this bonus. It looks like they had a pretty successful anti-eco, so they do have quite a few guns to work with, so we'll see what damage they can do. And on a bonus, obviously, you're hoping to possibly get a win, but especially you want to be doing some of that eco damage to your opponent, who is spending a lot of their eco this round. We do see Nerve. Interesting thing about Nerve, he was sort of this late addition to DSG right at the end of the Challenger season, along with the restructuring that brought in some interesting players to DSG is what I'll say. So we do have some very powerful players here we're working with, especially with Bob on SaD. Dark is going to take out Nerve. T-Dog going to be able to take out Zoe. I mean, Dark is going to take out T-Dog. Zeldris able to take out Coburg. Ooh. Peek out from Zeldris. Going to be able to get away, but Darkus will shut down Zeldris regardless. 3 kills for Darkus in the round. On for the ace at this point, although I don't think that's what they're concerned about. As the spike goes down, it's just about playing post-plant. This bonus going very well for SaD. They've already done a substantial amount of economy damage, and now it is truly just down to trying to get the win secured. For QoR, they do really want this, because if they don't get this, it could be very poor for them. We do have Ziff here. I mean, these are 2 free agent teams that have extremely stacked rosters. Like, these are the teams you're going to really struggle to beat. They knocked out Cataclysm Gaming, you know, one of those tier 3 teams that I was sort of looking at. Got knocked out in the round of 64, I believe. Or 120. I think it was 64. Ooh, Snarly able to get a kill onto Skarn, close it out. So QoR does a little bit of damage there. So SaD won't keep their weapons, I guess. But of course, SaD was very much so on a bonus. So they're feeling very good here. Their eco going to be taking quite the hike here. Able to pick up a few guns as well. So you see already, I mean, this is going to be a very tough match for QoR moving forward, because they're going to have to work through that eco advantage that SaD now has. And not only that, they have to figure out what they did wrong in that anti-bonus in that buy round. As QoR now is in position down 3 rounds on an eco again. Gonna have to do some damage. Okay. I mean, at what point do you call for vac? Nice tracker dart shot through the smoke. Poison cloud right into U-Haul, and that does give really good info to SaD. And it does look like they do want to approach A here. Zeldris doing a little bit of work. Skarn gonna send Boombot through. Again, they're making some noise using their recon util here early. They want to get as much information in the early round as possible to just really make sure that they're tripping up this team in QoR, because they know their opponent's on an eco, and when you're on an eco, you are just in a very awkward position. Having to figure out where you want to approach each round, where you want to place the players that you might have guns on.
30 seconds left.
And SaD up 3, of course. Gonna have to work their way through. Up 3 rounds, rather, sorry. on a big advantage. Gonna have to work their way towards one of the sites. And again, it's that beautiful, aggressive offensive nature that this map can hold. Just the ability to so quickly rotate on that offense. And it comes through. Nearly that spike doesn't go down. Bit of an exchange towards Showers as TP was taken by QoR to try and take a fight. They are denied mostly, although there is a pick that ends up coming through. Skarn will shut it down, though. Nerf going to be able to take out Bob. It's going to be a 2v3 for QoR. Your controllers, rather. Not bad players either. Ziff and Nerv are very solid players, but it's just down to trying to retake. We've got so many players really looking to shut it down. And I mean, you do get shut down. So 4-0 for SaD. And that does mean we will see quite a bit of damage done here to QoR, who is now down in this position. You're down 4 rounds. Now, I've seen teams in this position a lot, right? And oftentimes, it's definitely not the end of the world, right? You just needed a little bit of time to warm up in the match. And perhaps now we'll see QoR win this round very unexpectedly, very aggressively, flawless even. I might be getting ahead of myself, but I'm hoping here for QoR, who really needs this round. Because if they don't get it, I mean, you could be looking at a very dominant first half for SaD. Thank you, Plague. Appreciate it. Orbital Strike comes through, getting ready. Just try and stall that plant out. Zostrel does take out Zeldris, though. And although the plant gets stalled out a bit, you're still, a minute of time in the round. So it doesn't do too much in the way of stalling it out. You don't find a kill off of it either, so it doesn't really do a whole lot of anything for you. And SaD is able to get kills as well to back it up and continue to dominate this round. Viper's Pit. Was that a Viper's Pit? I can't tell. I heard the voice line. Am I insane? Oh, and Zoe stole. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'll just say Zoe stole. Found the final kill there, and SaD secures their 5th round. And I did talk about how absolutely important that round was for QoR. They needed that round and they didn't get it. So Ocean going to be calling that timeout for QoR. They need to figure out quite a bit. They've really just been caught out very beautifully by SaD. I think SaD has just been doing an amazing job at baiting out some of the players. They're getting a lot of that early info, sending so much of their recon util out early, which creates just so much of confusion for QoR. Because recon util doesn't mean that the team is about to push necessarily, and for SaD it doesn't necessarily mean it. So it just creates such a mystery in the eyes of QoR. Not quite able to decide where they want to head, and they just get shut down. And QoR just finds themselves baited out time and time again. For SaD, this is big. I mean, for a team with GC players on it, we've just come from a Shopify 2-0ing. SaD may dominate in this series as well, and that does sort of mean that we're going to see a pretty exciting upper bracket here if this goes the way that I'm hoping it does for SaD. Although, of course, QoR, very wonderful roster. They still have that chance in the lower bracket. I would say QoR is sort of made up of those players that tried their hardest last challengers and just couldn't necessarily make the runs they wanted to. Operator in the hands of Skarn. I mean, you just see the way SaD is playing again, getting ready, throwing the util around. Showstopper comes out, making contacts, and they're gonna find the kill. Ziff is able to get a kill with the Sheriff beforehand, though, and you see QoR immediately starting this rotation. But because of how much work SaD has done in creating mystery in the early round, you just see QoR really not ready to completely defend B. Okay. And Bob able to take out T-Dog. Snarly is able to trade it off, but Cobra going to shut them down. And again, it's that mystery, it's that confusion that SaD has done a really good job of creating. And, I mean, QoR is just finding themselves caught out. To be fair, it's an eco. You aren't going to be able to do a whole lot. But you lose pretty badly. It's a team ace. Good for SaD. Again, 6-0 now. They are looking very, very powerful here. I mean, QoR just has so much work to do. And again, it's SaD understanding what to do very early on in the half, what to do once they've made the contact that they've made. They understand the advantages they've created for themselves. They play around it, right? It's like how in the previous series we saw Shopify with that final play that sort of set the nail in the coffin with the flank from Noya, understanding that the trademark might be up if they caught the timing, and they did. And SaD doing a very similar thing here, where they're understanding they've won rounds by doing very similar things time and time again, so they switch it up going into that 6th round, playing around a bit, creating confusion early, and then just hitting the site faster than what QoR was expecting. It's just playing around so perfectly, truly. And we do see that Sova drone, all drone come through, Recon Dart comes through as well. Off of that, you do see the Hunter's Fury, and it doesn't actually find the kill, despite that ping. It's only going to do 1 tick of 70. That is good for QoR here, who's going to be able to get that ultimate out of the way, especially when you've got Seekers and a Showstopper, but it's going to be a Rosa ult, as you're not going to find the contact you want. Zeldris, though, able to do a little bit of damage. Bob will go down. Zoe stole, though, going to trade it off before Zeldris takes out Cobrig, though. So it is a player advantage for QoR. They're finding themselves in a good spot. Cosmic Divide is up, so they can't hear anything. And truly now, of course, obviously, there was a point when you could hear something, but now you genuinely can't hear anything. So that does allow this spike to go down. I can't tell if the lag is me or the stream. 5 HP. And here's the thing, right? You can hold this defensive position all you want, but you're the one that has to make the move. And Ziff going to do it. Zoe still goes down. Skarn going to take out T-Dog. Nerve going to take out Skarn. Ziff takes out Darkus. For the first time on this map, QoR finds themselves able to close it out. They did a really good job of making sure they weren't being pushed too early. I think SaD wasn't moving around as much as they had been. QoR was able to take advantage of that. They played around that controller util, caught timings when they needed to. Everything went well for them. That could be the start of a very good run for QoR to try and tie it up here, which is the best they can hope for. They can't take the lead in this half anymore, but they can tie it up going into the next half. And again, this map, at least even just today from what we've seen, tends to lend its hand to the offense. And I do think that QoR would love to be able to go into the second half tied up. And Nerve going to try and allow that. Spraying right through the smoke. Dark is going to get shut down. That's one of your controllers down, and that's one of your controllers who's been a very pivotal factor. Skarn, though, able to find a kill. So that does trade it out. 4v4. Ooh, SaD able to get that spike down. Snakebite doing quite a bit of damage. Nerve able to take out Zoe Stoll, catching the perfect time. So they're in their astral plane. Zeldris is okay. Zeldris is going to be killed after a whiff with the right click, and Coburg will take them out. Snarly able to find 2, and that does mean 3 players left alive, and QoR finds themselves winning 2 in a row. SaD Zico is going to still take a few rounds before you can really get them on an eco, but at the very least, QoR is definitely making a good amount of progress. Timeout actually going to be called for SaD. They were doing a really good job for the first 6 rounds, and now QoR is going to they're going to slow it down a little bit. And now timeout being called. I do think SaD sort of just switched it up a little bit. For the first 6 rounds, they were very fluid. They were moving around a lot. They were effectively taking a lot of early info and playing off of that, creating a lot of that paranoia you need, especially on bind, where the offense needs to rotate quickly a lot of the time. And then they just decided to slow it down, playing right into QoR, going A both times. And QoR was just completely ready for that defense. So I do think SaD had a really good start, and then they sort of just ran out of steam a little bit. So we will see if they can find their footing and bounce back. I expect they can. So they started off very strongly. And we'll see. Looking to see what other teams have moved forward. Do you have Zero Marksman Black moving forward? Which is interesting. I think, anyway. Now we do have SaD moving in, getting ready to approach this B site. But Zeldris has something to say about it. Gonna find a kill. Moving up while blinded. Gonna find the kill regardless. Does get traded off, and then Ziff will find a kill. So SaD's attempt at an early B hit is shut down. You can see QoR was ready for SaD to play a little bit slower, a little bit more calculated, and well, QoR shuts it down. So SaD is gonna find themselves in a bit of a tough spot. Although look at this, Darkest has managed to sneak into the Viper's pit. I mean, they're just unaware. It's clueless, and Darkest is able to take out Zeph. Now it's a 3v3, and the Viper's pit goes down. So that does mean B site is sort of a lot less defended than it initially was. It's a bit more open. Bob is able to take out Snarly as well. Still a defender coming in through Hookah, and Nerve coming in through CT, going to take out Darkest. So it's a 2v2. Look at this. Bob, I'll just rotate. And they do just that, moving over towards A, but it's only one TP heard. So you can see them playing back a little bit still. They don't necessarily know where this player is. Now the spike is going down. And, oh, Bob completely caught out. Picks the wrong way to run out of that orbital strike, and it does leave Coburg in a 1v2. Another Cypher in a clutch situation. We'll see if Coburg can pull it out here. And they're able to take out Nerve. Spike is going to be held here. Coburg not ready for it. And it's just going to be diffused right under their nose. Unfortunate for Coburg, misreading the situation. And now that does mean SaD is up 6-3. And their lead is starting to dwindle. 6-round win streak turned into a 3-round win streak from QoR. Possibly could become that 6-round win streak for QoR to tie it up. I don't wanna curse it too much here. Turn up the volume a little bit. And now we see SaD getting ready to approach A this time. I do like that round a little bit better though. They were showing more fluidity. They were trying to adapt in the mid round. I think for QoR, it was a good round as well because they shut down SaD as they were attempting to try and be a little bit slower in the early round. And here, T-Dog going to be finding a kill pretty quickly. Ooh, Guiding Light going to go into Hookah. Doesn't blind anyone, but it does give info, and Darkest peeks out immediately after to find the kill. Ziff throws the molly. Cypher Cage comes through. And the Snakebite comes from the returning Viper. So that does now make this a 4v4. Bob gonna take out T-Dog. Cobra gonna take out Zeldris. Darkest takes out Ziff. QoR in a 1v4. As SaD has found themselves very easy B take this round. Let's see these players now just hunting Nerve down. And I mean, Nerve is, I think, probably doomed in this scenario. They're watching Elbow. They're watching CT. Pretty screwed here.
Enemy down. Out of here.
Why with the flames? Alright. Shock Dart gonna come through. Nerve takes quite a bit of damage. It's now going to be a 1v2 for QoR. And the scoreline is 3-7. And the Dreams, as I said, it could possibly be a 6-6 scoreline going to the next half, of course. I had to curse it a little bit, and now SaD is up. So they will be going to the next half with the lead, which is sort of what you want on your offense. For QoR, this is very much so still winnable if they can get 2 more rounds. Even like a 4-8, 3-9 scoreline is very possible. I've seen it a lot. So it's not the end of the world. But it doesn't feel great to not have the best first half. So just going for an aggressive play, pushing out through shorts, trying to take out Darkest, although they do get shut down in that endeavor. Now we do see SaD moving in towards A, perhaps. They're playing quite a bit of time here, making noise in a lot of places. This is very akin to what we saw from them in the first few rounds of this half. Playing slow, making early noise, using some of that recon util. For QoR, who's on an eco, this is very, very paranoia-inducing, as you just don't really know where to place the bulk of your players, and when you're on an eco, that's very important. Regardless, Ziff is going to find a nice kill on those players pushing into hookah. Shock Dart from Bob going to trade it off. Cobra going to find a pick entering onto the site. T-Dog going to shut it down. However, find a trade kill. And off of that, SaD is going to run it over towards A. You do see, though, with a 3v3 right now, QoR has placed 2 of their players on A. They are ready to prevent this plant. And with 10 seconds left, they're going to need to do a lot here, SaD, to get this spike down successfully. Zeldris could stop it potentially, and they do. It doesn't matter, because although you may have been able to catch out and get good timing, there's still like 2 players waiting for you to swing through U-Haul, and they do get shut down because of that. So, does mean it's a scoreline of 3-8. And now we will see SaD get ready to move towards A, perhaps. Again, you can see how far back they're placing that spike. They're just going to be playing for some of those early picks, defaulting a little bit. Ooh, a missed op shot. It was too high, weirdly, on the jump peak. Harness Fury comes out in response from SaD. Does not find anything. Bit wasted there, but it's okay. We found out where some of the players definitely weren't. Now SaD is going to start this rotation over towards B. 2 players watching it for QoR. It's that Viper and Sky combo. Guiding Light does spot some players pushing down long. Definitely good here for Snarly. Seekers come out in response. I believe only 2 went out, though. Possibly 3. So they don't know the entire extent here. That's a showstopper from the offense. SaD coming through, getting ready to use it. Skarn will take out Snarly. It's now going to be a 4v5. Ooh, Skarn gonna take out T-Dog, Nerve gonna take out Skarn, Bob gonna take out Ziff, Nerve gonna take out Darkest. It's trade after trade, and QoR is down a player. Nerve, I mean, repeatedly having to dodge the shock darts. Pushing in through smoke, gonna walk right into a cross. Zeldris does the same. And that's gonna be it. It's 9-3 for SaD. Don't remember who said it. I think it was Josue. It's now an opportunity for it to be a 9-3 9-3 curse here coming into the second half. And we do see QoR going to be moving in towards A. Ready to make some contact down short. And I imagine they're not going to take as methodical of approach as SaD did. Probably not going to return with the same calculated play. At least not on this pistol, most likely. Although, they do slow it down a bit. But you saw those pings were directly through short and onto site. So I imagine they're going to take this pretty quickly here. And Zeldris going to dash right onto site. Trying to prove why you play Jet on this site. Or on this map, rather. Zeldris going to take out Zoe still. Skarn going to take out Ziff. I don't know how that happened, but Zeldris completely missed Bob. Doesn't matter. T-Dog's still going to take them out, although Coburg will take out Zeldris. T-Dog going to take out Skarn. It's a 1v2 for T-Dog. Spike is not down. It's been lost, and that does mean T-Dog has to clutch the 1v2. Cannot. Coburg goes down, but Darkest trades it out, and that was a much-needed round for QoR. They needed that if they were going to make that 9-3 work, and they did not get it. There's still a chance. But SaD is now moving into an anti-eco. QoR is going to opt to just take an eco, which is fair. And that does mean SaD should have a clean round on their hands. You saw how well SaD and calculated SaD was playing on that offense, and I imagine the defense would be very much so the same, understanding where to approach these setups, how to execute, and play with information that you have. It's clearly something SaD is very strong with. Darkest gonna be caught out there a little bit, peeking a little bit out of hookah, gonna be punished for that by Nerve. Now QoR will get ready to push in towards B. We will see. We will see. Okay, Darkest. Gonna have to defend this. Sort of caught behind this box. Damage is being done, though. Ziff and Snarly are low on HP. Snarly going to go down. Astro Smoke is going to help Darkest get away. Cobra goes down to T-Dog. Darkest swings that, takes out T-Dog. Goes down to Zeldris. The double duelist comp working for SaD. I mean, sorry, for QoR in this case. Skarn going to take out Nerve, and Ziff in response to Nerve finding a kill. It's a 1v2 for Zeldris. A much needed round win if Zeldris can clutch this out. And they've wrapped around, hoping to catch SaD off guard, but Bob expects the possibility, swings out, and that is that same game sense that took Bob and Cloud9 White towards so many victories in the early Game Changers tournaments. Same game sense that catches your timing like that. It's not going to be 11-3 for SaD. And that does mean they're just 2 rounds away from winning this map, and winning map 1 would mean so much for them, of course. This could be a very quick expedition towards the round of 16. So I'm just going to take out Coldberg. Round of 16, aka the quarterfinals. Zeldris going to take out Zoe still. Zeldris going to take out Darkest. Skarn going to take out Zeldris. Zeldris with 3 kills in the round. This is going very well for QoR. Now, they did have the gun advantage, of course. It's a bonus for SaD. Doesn't change anything, though. This could be a very good round to start a comeback. I keep saying that, especially on this map. Previous match we saw was much closer on behind. T-Dog going to take out Skarn. Bob able to take out Snarly, though. Bob is down to 10 HP after the encounter, though. And they know where Bob is, most importantly. Or they have an idea. So Bob is going to have to play this a little bit weirdly if they want a chance. Expecting the possibility of a flank. Going to wrap around where they were. Hoping to maybe get a kill. Not going to find it. And it looks like they might just save. Not wanting to get timinged. And there you go. Well, the knife going over towards A. And now we just wait and wait and wait and wait for the end of the round. This is my least favorite part about Valorant casting, is this part. I am currently trying to see where some teams ended up. Any teams that I care about. Rise Esports is in lower bracket now. Benlin, of course, as I already showed earlier. Let's see. Zero Marksman Black gonna fight Blin. That is going to be a tough match for Zero Marksman Black, certainly. Blin is a very good collegiate team. Like, one of the best, if not the best, currently. So that's going to be very tough. It would be the first time we see a collegiate team in Challengers if Blin could qualify, which is definitely not off the table here. But it's not this match we're talking about. Zeldris is a bit of an updraft, moving around with the Blade Storm. Showstopper going to come out, getting ready to use it. Zeldris going to go down to it. Skarn getting ready to secure the match point round. Coburg gonna take out Ziff. T-Dog gonna take out Coburg. Skarn gonna take out Snarly. Skarn gonna find 4. And that does mean that SaD will find themselves a match point. 12-4. QoR would have to win 8 in a row to take it to OT. 10 in a row if they want to win the first round of OT. There's a lot of ifs right now for QoR, and it needs to start here. They have the money, surprisingly. So they do have this opportunity here. SaD's defense has not quite gone as well as their offense did. At least not the start of it anyways. So that does mean QoR has a better opportunity here than they did in the previous half. We'll see if they can make it work. As SaD is going to approach this with a 4-1 setup. They are gambling on B. An aggressive play, first spotted by Nerve. They don't find the kill onto Nerve, and that could be a pivotal whiff there. Skarn running up. I mean, this is asking to be killed right now. Yep, timing, of course, going to come through. Snarly peeks out. Skarn goes down. Ooh, Zoe still able to take out Nerve. Now it's going to be a 4v4. Perhaps a bit of overconfidence on Skarn's part. 2 players now, as SaD has managed to get one of them over towards A. Going to be the 2 sole defenders. It's 4v4, of course, so this is better for the offense. And Ziv going to prove that, taking out Darkus. Now it's a 4v3. Coburg going to be alone on the site right now to try and even it out. They do that. Zeldris will go down. Can they do any more than that is the question. Ziv trying to catch a timing, pushing through U-Haul. They don't quite, and they take a substantial amount of damage in the process. Coburg really trying here to do more damage. Snakebite trying to push them out of this position, but it won't do that. And they peek out and get another onto T-Dog before going down. Bob with his shock dart going to take out Ziv as well, and this is looking like it might be over. SaD is in a 2v1. Spike needs to be planted. Zoe still running over towards A to come for the flank, and it seems the missed timing not going to be there, and Snarly would have to kill both, but not going to be able to do so as Bob will find the final kill. 13-4 win, very dominant for SaD, a very good start for them as they do come in to this tournament looking for blood. And that went very, very well for them. And especially, you know, to say that you beat a team that was substantially made up of ex-Challengers players, I mean, that's big for a team of players who have not been, or at least were not in the most recent Challengers main event. And so that's pretty big for a lot of these players to be able to say that they beat that team, because that proves a lot. And especially as I've casted a few events here and there where I've seen teams just form together very quickly, full of tier 2 players, just come through and dominate the tournament. To see a team that is also probably full of what could be tier 2 players, but not necessarily as named tier 2 players, right? Beating a team full of tier 2 players. I'm gonna stop. My brain's gonna explode if I keep saying tier 2. Anyways, point is, SaD is in a pretty good spot. Now, that's just map 1, obviously. Nobody's going down to the lower bracket quite yet. And you can see here how things have gone. So, 1-3-3-7, made up of some interesting players here. I think... Actually, no, I don't know any of those players. Never mind. Anyways, 1-3-3-7 has moved on, waiting for their opponent in the upper round of 16. St. Clair and Lucky 7 playing each other right now. Lucky 7 up 1. The Glazers waiting for their opponent in Dead Orbit or Nightblood. We do have Blinn and Zero Marksman Black facing each other. It's about to start. I actually think I'm more interested in this match potentially, so I believe I'll just switch over to this one. Oh wait, this is the one on the main stream. I don't know if I want that pressure. Let's see. It's gonna be Winthrop versus Ambrosia. Lots of collegiate teams today, which is not unexpected, and they are like the higher tiered collegiate teams. So, I think it's something gonna be interesting to see. I think right now the main teams I'm looking at is probably SaD, Shopify, Zero Marksman, and Berlin as teams where I'm like, I would want to, like, I'd be happy to see them move forward. QoR as well. I was hoping for that for Van Lin, but they're not looking amazing right now, so I don't know if they'll be able to get there. They looked pretty good yesterday, so there's definitely still that chance. But it seems every stream is paused right now. Yep, every single stream that's currently active is paused. So I guess it's just the waiting game now. Let's see. Soon initiating. Interesting. Which stream is this? Winthrop versus Ambrosia. Pure Marksman versus Blinn. SaD versus QoR. I think we'll just stick with this one, just for the sake of I don't know. It makes sense to me, I suppose. Yeah, so I'll quickly review the format, I suppose. So yesterday and this qualifier and qualifier number 2 are gonna function pretty much the same, with one pretty key difference. So yesterday was the start. It started with a round of 256. It was not actually 256 teams. I think it was a little over 128. This was just to narrow it down to that 128. So there were quite a few teams getting bye rounds. It goes to the round of 128. They fight down to the round of 64. The winner of each of those round of 64 matches moves on to the top 32, which is phase 2. So 32 teams moved on. Phase 2 is when the double elimination bracket takes place, because open qualifier number 1 was single elimination. So if you did not win your maps, you're out. And for a lot of teams, that meant they were out. So now we're in the upper round of 32. All of the teams that ended up losing move down here. So you have 2 chances. That's how double elimination works. Pretty standard. 2 teams will qualify through the upper bracket. If you win your upper semifinals match, then you move on. 2 teams will qualify through the lower bracket as well. That's 4 teams. It's a pretty substantial amount of teams. So 4 teams coming through here. Those that win the lower round 6 move forward. The teams you're going to have to face in the lower round 6 are the same teams that lose in the upper semis. So it's going to be pretty difficult, but that's how it's going to function. And that's pretty much it. And if you qualify, you qualify. You're in the main event, which will take place March, so there's still quite a ways away. And then for qualifier number 2, it functions effectively the same. There's going to be another round of 128, possibly 256 if they need to narrow it down again, and then into the top 32. After it gets to the top 32, it'll be pretty much functionally the same, with one key difference, which is one team is going to qualify from the upper bracket and one team is going to qualify from the lower bracket. Initially, it was actually going to be where 2 teams qualified from the upper bracket in this one, and then 1 team qualified in the lower bracket, and then 1 team qualified in the upper bracket, and 1 team qualified in the lower bracket of the number 2 qualifier. That's what they posted. I don't know why they said that and then why they changed it. I don't know everything. I think a lot of it has to do with the teams that pulled out of challengers, and the teams that swapped stuff around. Could possibly be it. But regardless, we do see open qualifier number 2 going to function essentially the same, except that you have to win the upper finals and the lower finals in order to move on, not your upper semis and not your lower round 6. It would have to be your lower round 8, I believe. So pretty a lot more difficult for open qualifier number 2, but there is still another way that you can qualify. Oh shit, that's not it. There is still another way that you can qualify, which is through Premier. If your team does make it far enough through Premier, if you are of contender status and you're playing in the contender playoffs and you make it far enough, you will have the opportunity to make it to challengers. The way that's going to work, I don't know 100% for certain right now. What I do know is that there's going to be some form of relegation. So one of the teams or multiple of the teams here that are going to be in the main event can get swapped out for premier teams. Now, whether that's going to happen midway through the season, midway through the season, there's going to be a relegation match. The lower performing teams can get knocked out. Whether that's what's going to happen, or it's going to happen at the end of the season, and that's just a free slot into next year's challengers. I don't know for sure. If I had to guess, I'd say it's more of the first one, where after split 1, there's going to be a relegation match where the best premier teams face off against the worst challengers teams, and the winners of that get to continue moving on in challengers. That's, I imagine, how it would work. Although with the way circuit points work, I'm not 100% sure that's how it would work, because that might be weird. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it is important to note that I was explaining it yesterday, but obviously they didn't do any games yesterday, so it didn't really matter as much. But if we go to number 3, or not number 3, Challengers North America 2023, there you go. You can see that there's quite a few teams. So all of these teams, in theory, get a spot in Challengers. The Guard obviously ascended. G2 ended up just buying the Guard's roster, so both of these teams are out because of the ascension. Moist and Shopify combined together, hence why you see Shopify competing in the open qualifiers, because they gave up their spot. Moist no longer has a separate spot either, so those teams melded with one another, basically. And then TSM, I believe, might be either doing restructuring or they've just dropped their team. FaZe, similar situation. I think they're going to present a team. The only teams I know for sure are going to compete are Moist, Shopify, or obviously the teams that are here. So Turtle Troop, M80, Oxygen Esports, and Moist Shopify. These other 2 slots are sort of up for grabs right now. As far as who's going to get it, I don't really know. And I don't think the event organizers know either, hence why it still just says VCL NA 2023. So we'll see, I suppose. Obviously it should still be pretty exciting. Yeah, obviously we've seen Oxygen and Moist play a lot, because of course Moist Shopify owned by Ludwig, or co-owned by Ludwig, so he's been running a lot of events, and a lot of those events have also or not necessarily running a lot of events, but has had his team in a lot of events, and a lot of those teams have featured like Sentinels, Cloud9, and Oxygen a lot as well. Oxygen's been participating a lot. Moist has not been doing as well as Oxygen. Ludwig and Tarek actually got really, really close between the 2 teams. Moist actually ended up beating Oxygen once, but then Oxygen came back through lower bracket to win it. So Oxygen is looking like really good, like better than some of the tier 2 teams right now, which is sort of that's tough to say for a lot of tier 2 teams, is that they're better than some of the tier 1 teams. Obviously, everybody's going to be better than OMBR, but that's just the way that it functions. But like, especially some of those NA tier 1 teams can tend to be pretty solid. So the fact that Oxygen's been beating them is something. Turtle Troop's been competing here and there in some LAN events. They haven't had the most success. They've been competing a lot in like the Knights Monthly Gauntlet. They've had some success there. Shopify Rebellion, the current Shopify Rebellion, which is the GC team that won Game Changers 2023 champions. They have actually lost to Turtle Troop in the past during a Knights Monthly Gauntlet thing. So, or maybe it wasn't during a Knights, might have been during something else. But anyways, point is, Turtle Troop's been competing, beating people. They're still doing okay. And Turtle Troop was one of those teams that I think had a lot of potential, and I'm hoping coming into this year they show that potential. Had they not done so poorly in Split 1, they probably would have been in the top 8. But they weren't in the top 8. They had to play in the play-in relegation, and they won. They got top 2, one of the top 2s. They got first. They did very, very well. So they definitely showed and proved that they deserve to be here. So yeah. Oh yeah, OR also has a slot, and they're not confirmed. So I think they've put together a team. I think, but I don't actually know that for sure. So we'll see with that. But yeah. So Turtle Troopers look good. M80 is the one team that's still a very big question mark. I know they're going to compete, and I know that they have a roster, but that's pretty much all that I know. They have had a bit of a struggle point in Ascension. They definitely struggled a little bit, and on top of that, coming into the offseason, they lost John Cutie, who was one of their best players and was their IGL. Sentinels picked them up, and now they're doing very well with him. So I think MAD's got to feel a little bit bad about that because they did lose out on that player. They've brought in Nitro, so they brought in a new IGL. They brought in another new player, I believe, to replace one of their flex. I think it was their flex or their controller. I don't remember. Yeah, so that's M80. So we haven't seen them compete at all. They haven't been competing. They're just gearing up for the main event, which is fair. Anyways, SaD and QoR are back, and we'll just go ahead and get right back into it. So I will actually quickly change my title so that way I can say all right, there we go. All right, now let's get started. So SaD Esports versus QoR. Currently, SaD is up. They did win pretty well off on Bind. It was a pretty solid scoreline for them. So there's a lot that they're gonna have to that QoR is gonna have to fight through here. Here's the thing: they're starting on defense and it's split, so they could start it off with a very solid run. However, QoR is running that double duelist composition, which some teams have started to phase out, some teams still run with. I've seen more success actually without it. I was able to cast during the Lux 2K Invitational North America. There was a team, I believe, called 4240, and that was comprised of like pretty solid tier 2 players. So it had like Exalt, it had Vic, it had some very nice players basically, and they did not. I don't think they ran double duelist on this map, and that was sort of the best team I've been able to see play on split, or that I've been able to cast play on split. Obviously, I've watched challengers and tier and tier 1 a lot, so I'm aware. But that's sort of the best I have to go off of for split. And so most recently, I would say I don't necessarily love the double duelist composition, but we'll see if SaD can make it work. Let me turn on the volume really quick. Dark is going to be able to take out Nerve. That's a big kill there. Oh, okay, and Zeldr's going to dash right into Darkest again. SaD has taken a massive advantage on B site. Just talking about how it's defense-sided, SaD does not care. They're just going to rush right into the site. They used quite a bit of that early controller util, because they are running double controller. Although, you know, sometimes you see Astra on this map instead of Omen. But I actually do like Omen Viper. And I do think more teams are going to start using Cypher on this map. QoR has gone double controller and double duelist, so they don't have a sentinel at all. Okay, it's going to be flawless. Skarn going to find one. Zoe's still going to find one. And then it's just going to be 3k from Zips. Or sorry, not from Zip, from Darkest. So it's a pretty solid start once again for SaD. They won 6 in a row to start it off on Bind, just to remind you. So, you know, they're feeling pretty good. They are going to be moving into an anti-eco. They're going to have pretty solid guns to work with. If they're lucky, they'll do enough damage to be able to move into round 3 with a very solid bonus. We'll see if they can. They did have a very solid pistol. They just very quickly were able to find very impactful kills moving into B. This time, though, it does look like maybe they want to expect more of that B hit, potentially. Although they do have 3 players leaning toward, or sorry, A hit, I mean. Although they do have more players leaning towards B, but they're very far back. They are sort of hoping that QoR plays into them. 2 players watching A, ramp, 2 players watching B garage. T-Dog swings out right into Coburg, and Coburg goes down. Skarn swings to bait out their teammate and find a kill, which I think is fine in that case because their teammate did just have a ghost there, so you're not baiting out a player with a full buy. Skarn is down to, or sorry, not Skarn. My fault. It's going to be a 3v4. This QoR does get ready to attempt this retake. T-Dog down to half HP. That's who I was talking about. And Zoe's still going to take out T-Dog immediately. So, immediately showing that they were down to half HP. It's going to be a 2v4 for the rest of QoR here. And Darkest going to get 3 kills in the round. Darkest having a very nice start so far, as they have found 3k after 3k. So, you know, already with 6 kills and it's only been 2 rounds. Pretty solid start if you are SaD. And a lot of that is what we saw from them on Bind, on their offense. Very early, calm, collected, playing very slowly when they need to, getting a lot of that early util out as they can, create a little bit of confusion. Like in that round, they found a kill on Garage, but just continued to stick it out. 3 near garage, 2 watching ramp. And they did find a kill on ramp as well, and then they could start to commit towards B as they saw so much presence on A. So, you know, SaD is doing a very good job of sort of making sure they're continuing to create some of this paranoia that you need to see. SaD now going to get ready to push towards mid. Colbert going to take out Zeldris. Zoistral going to take out Ziff. That does now make it. Sorry. That does now make it a 5v3. This is really bad for QoR, considering that they are on a round where they do have the gun advantage. So losing that numbers advantage is going to be really punishing here, especially on defense. Even on what is typically defense side of the map, losing players on your defense does make it difficult. And all that SaD really has to do is either push through this controller util, that Astra Smoke, quickly, or they can just wait for it to drop and they decide to just have Skarn push through fast. And they are punished for that. They are going to lose 2 of their players. T-Dog going to be the one to find it on Zoe Stroll. So that does actually make it back to that 3v3. It's an even player count once again. However, QoR does have one of their players very low. SaD is the same. And you do see SaD gonna approach A. They've got 2 now gonna come in through main. Ooh, Snarly gonna see it. Try and find a kill. Bob is low on HP, so could be a good kill there. Though Snarly just decides to back up, not take it. They're expecting a player coming in through heaven, and there is. Cobra gonna take T-Dog out. Nerve is very low on HP. Gonna get the Sky heal. There you go. Regrowth gonna come through. Can get them back to full. That's gonna be helpful for QoR, who's now in a 2v3 retake. Only issue is, remember how I talked about how Darkest had already gotten 6 kills coming into this round? Well, that's already the ult up. And that does mean Viper Spit comes out to defend that spike on A. So this is going to be extremely difficult for QoR. Nerve going to be able to take out Bob. And that sort of more screens-heavy watch coming out from Darkest from within the pit is going to have to back up off of that kill. Nerve might be able to take out Darkest here as they're trying to get away from screens. And yeah, Darkest, knife out, going to get caught out by both Snarly and Nerve. And Coburg going to die to the spike. So that does mean 3-0 for SaD. They don't survive, but it was a bonus, so it doesn't matter too much for them. What does matter, though, is that they found the win. And on your bonus, that's huge. I said it in the previous map as well for them. And then they went on to get 6 rounds in the half. So SaD is looking very, very solid here. And again, a lot of it is very interesting to see. I mean, truly, these are not players that were in last year's Challengers, and they're up against a team in QoR who had all of their players, excluding Snarly, on Challengers teams during the main event. And so that's pretty big if you are SaD to be able to say you destroyed what a team comprised of Challengers players. It's not an ex-Challengers team or a Challengers core even. It's sort of just disjointed players. But Coburg this round going to take out Snarly. T-Dog able to take out Coburg. Dark is going to take out Nerve. But point is SaD is going to be in a pretty good spot if they do end up 2-0ing this. I think it gives a lot of confidence that they'll be able to make some waves moving into Challengers. And I'm pretty confident in believing that this year's Challengers will be the first North American Challengers to have co-ed players, have people from the Game Changers circuit as well. And I think SaD would prove that here. Bob able to take out Zeldris. Now it's going to be a 2v4. Health extremely low for both of the players. T-Dog goes down. Pretty much just had to sneeze on him. And Ziff follows just before that. So SaD, they had the gun advantage. They're on an eco. They have a full buy off of the bonus round win. They're going to have a pretty good round no matter what. And they do. Eco's looking pretty good for SaD right now. Not as good for QoR, but they did just take an eco, so that doesn't mean they can't afford to buy. Operators coming out from both sides. Zoistel has actually opted for the operator, which is going to be interesting considering they are on offense. You don't see that a whole lot. Oftentimes, you'll see exactly what they're doing here, which is taking fights in either garage and sometimes out of A main, although that is more rare than that garage. Zeldris able to take out Coburg, so immediately an operator pick is found, but not by SaD. It's by QoR. So that's big for QoR. Again, they need this round. If they do lose this, which is something I said in the previous map as well, when they were in this exact same position, QoR does lose this, it's going to be a very pivotal loss and could sort of set the tone for the rest of the half, if not the rest of the map. And it does appear as though SaD is going to be in a bit of a tough spot. As they are down a player, they do decide to aggress more towards this B site. Look at all these beautiful controller util. The Poison Cloud actually benefited Nerve more than anything, but you can see that SaD is anticipating that. Regardless, Nerve is able to send that smoke out, so it's going to prevent and block that vision in through Garage. So, a bit of chaotic there, but Nerve does not die, is the point for QoR. Ziff gonna be the one to see it. Almost catches timing, but Bob swings just in time, and Ziff will fall. Now makes this a 4v4. T-Dog sends the showstopper through, looking to find some good contact here and there. Ooh, Zeldris gonna take out Skarn. Skarn's paint shells, though, gonna get a kill after death. T-Dog gonna take out B-Dog. Sorry, Bob, not B-Dog. That would not make sense. T-Dog gonna also take out Darkness, though. It's a 1v3 for Zoe Stole. I don't know. Okay, definitely not paying attention. And Knife Out, Nerve coming for the flank. Good kill there to kill all of the players. So QoR not going to have a repeat of the previous map. So it's very beautifully done by QoR to get to this point. They have an operator. They have 4 Vandals. Meanwhile, SaD, that was a bit of a pricey round for them, right? They had a good eco flowing into it, going into the round, but they did decide to opt for that operator, as I mentioned, and they didn't find anything with it. And that does mean you do see a player on a Stinger, so this is potentially punishing for QoR. Or sorry, not for, well, yeah, QoR may be able to punish SaD here. And could really hinder them. Just that one key mistake of buying that operator may hurt them here. SaD does decide to approach a little bit through mid. They're denied mid control, of course, very important in split. If you do not have a good mid presence, you don't have a good map presence. And SaD is just going to push through that main entrance in towards A, and they're going to be allowed to do so. Coburg pushes up ramp, finds 2. Okay, Snarly and Ziff both go down. 5v3 now. This court will find themselves needing to do quite a bit. Coburg with the Vandal, going to shoot straight through. 3 kills for Coburg. They will take out T-Dog. It's now going to be a 2v5. Now, of course, the side that QoR is going to struggle on is going to be this defense, right? They're running 2 double duelist, double controller. They don't have any sentinels. This is going to be a struggle point for them. Nerve takes out Coburg. Skarn takes out Nerve. Pretty quick round for SaD. A bit disappointing if you are QoR. But yeah, QoR is running this more offense-heavy composition. Double duelist, double controller is sort of an older composition. I think it appeared relatively soon after Split was re-entered into the map pool. And considering QoR is made up of Challengers players, that was sort of the last time that, you know, that was sort of the same strategy that was there the last time, you know, when Challengers was coming to an end, and when a lot of these players were coming to a conclusion in their time in Challengers, because obviously none of them made it through Ascension. So that does, you know, that could just be a remnant of that. It could just be they feel most comfortable on it. I'm not saying it's an unusable composition, but it's not amazing, right? Because double duelist doesn't really work for you on your defense very well. The idea is maybe you can have one on either side. You can get some better, faster rotates. It's really just for your offense, though, so that way you can have a push through mid and a push through one of the sites at the same time. It creates a lot of pressure and can pinch very easily, and can help you take space a lot quicker. It was really made for that because for a while it was more of that very defense-sided composition. This composition came out, helped a lot of people on the offense. It started to switch even to favoring the offense a little bit, and then the defensive side started to get favored as more and more teams just started running double controller. Teams were running this double controller, double duelist, but it's less calculated than a team with a Sentinel as well. It helps a lot, even on offense, because you can do quite a bit of good lurk plays. You can still get a lot of good contact, prevent some of those flanks. Of course, Cypher is one of the more powerful Sentinels just because there's no range on his trips. Zeldris going to take out Skarn. Coburg takes out Seltris, and now I'll just start talking about the round. After that exchange, that does mean that any vision SaD would have wanted an A, sort of gone, but on the flip side, QoR no longer has very much vision. This is actually way, way better for SaD here, as Coburg is still there, can still prevent anybody and have the knowledge that nobody's pushing up, which could sort of stimulate this. They should rotate over towards A, potentially. Although it does look like QoR wants to maybe just test through mid a little bit. We'll see. Darkest does back out of garage, so it does look like maybe they want to use mid as a means to rotate towards A. Potentially, Bob wants to find some contact over here towards B garage. Meanwhile, the spike has been given to Darkest to be placed over on A. So they're leaving the Viper Cypher to plant that spike over on A, and they're pretty confident in that. QoR starts to rotate one of their players over towards A. Zostal is able to join their teammates, or was going to try and join their teammates over on A, but Snarly is spotted after that from the shadows comes out. From the shadows has to be canceled. Snarly is now spotted on site. Spike is going to go down. Good timing if you're QoR. T-Dog able to take out Darkest. Coburg does trade it off, but Zip is there to take out Coburg. And with 6 seconds left, that could be it. It seems that SaD's strategy of playing very, very slow time and time again is going to punish them here, especially in this round where they're just not able to find that contact. Because SaD is on Bind was playing a slower, more methodical strategy that doesn't work as well on Split just because of how much more time is taken up in those pushes. And I do think on Bind it works to be a little bit more methodical because rotating quickly is okay. You're very rarely going to run out of time. But in this case, you can see that both of the times that QoR has won, it's been based off of time, not kills. So I do think if SaD can work a little bit faster in the early round maybe, or especially in that mid round, the mid round decision making does get very, very slow as they're waiting for smokes to drop. They're waiting for util to be back up for them. That sort of stuff is going to punish them a little bit, and so I do think they need to work around that. Nerve does find the first blood of this round. Very, very good start for QoR. And SaD does get ready to move through mid. Okay, Ziff going to take out Skarn. Nerve going to take out Darkest. And that makes it a 2v5 if you're SaD. And SaD is going to be SaD. Okay, and that's going to prove it. Bob whiffs the ob shot. Somehow got it off. But Ziff will find that kill there. And Coburg is now in a 1v5. Keep talking about these ciphers in clutch positions. And Coburg is going to be the one here. Trying to prevent the ult orb from being picked up. Can't do it. Shoots the body a little bit. Must the left click gets stuck sometimes. It's a weird bug in Valorant, I think. Though I only see it in pro play, so I'm not sure. Or in tournament play, I should say. And now Coburg sort of just waiting it out.
30 seconds left.
You know, how's the weather? Cool. It's actually been kind of rainy in LA. So, you know, that's actually something to talk about. You know, it's not just sunny like it usually is, so I don't know. Okay, Zeldish, the operator, gonna spot Coburg, and Coburg's just gonna, I don't need to push that. I don't think that's necessary. Coburg going to use the trip really quick just to make sure nobody's sneaking up. And nobody is. Nobody was really hunting for Coburg. They were more so just making sure that there wasn't going to be hero play coming through. And there wasn't. So SaD does lose the round, and off of that, Vexel, their coach, is going to call a timeout. Pretty fair to see why. Again, that early round not going amazing for them in the previous round, but especially just their mid round has not been going well, where they're able to make sound early, which is what they were trying to do on Bind a lot, and it worked for them on Bind a lot. They're trying to find info early as well. But then they just don't really know what to do after they've done that. A lot of util gets used by QoR, and when you're up against a team with a double controller, it gets a bit tough because there's just so much controller util to delay anything. And then SaD is sort of just like sat there waiting until there's only 20 seconds left and they're pushing onto the site and they can't do much. Maybe they get a kill or two, but the spike is delayed. This QoR has been able to do very, very well is delay that plant. So I do think SaD perhaps just needs to cheer up a bit, not be so slow, maybe move a bit quicker, and we could see them start to take more of these rounds, because I do think, especially after Bind, QoR has sort of just wised up to the tactics here, it's not hard to see why.
This is a nice one.
So definitely getting pretty deep into it now, as we are nearing the last few rounds of this half. 4 rounds left. And that does mean that now is when SaD does need to start working a bit. They've already had a decent offense. It's a defense-sided map. SaD has 5 rounds right now. In theory, they would want to have at least this much going into the next half to call it an even half. If they get any more than this on their offense, it's sort of a plus. However, QoR is running an offense-sided comp. Now, I do think SaD's composition will still benefit them more so on the defense than it does on their offense, but the same is true for QoR when we switch sides. So we will see which of these teams can sort of take that advantage. Is sort of this older team composition QoR is running, or the newer, more meta composition that SaD is running. Cobra gonna find Sue. Ziff takes out Bob, and T-Dog immediately responds, and SaD's attempts to move quickly on towards A is all shut down. And that does mean SaD not going to be able to do as swift of a movement as they would have liked. And I think here's the thing. I don't think their strategy of making sound early and then pushing a site is bad, or finding info early and then pushing a site is bad. I don't think it has to be a bad thing. I don't think you have to give it up entirely. But I do think you need to find info early and then just start moving quicker, right? Find that info early and then make decisions faster, move quicker in the mid-round, because they just slowed down so much. And I think in this round, that was the opposite response, where they just accelerated too much, right? One way you're just standing on the brake pedal, the other way you're standing on the accelerator pedal, and there needs to be some compromise found where you're able to just cruise along at a stable speed. And I do think perhaps SaD is trying to find that. They're able to find some contact, or at least some info near mid. That poison cloud, actually, QoR trying to play around it, Ziff trying to use it to maybe find a good pick. Doesn't quite use the smoke to do it, but they do find a pick onto Skarn. Bob is there to trade it off, though. Perhaps getting a little too overzealous with this spike. Bob goes down to T-Dog. And that does mean SaD is going to have a very tough time moving forward. Guiding Light does flash Zoe. And that does mean Zoe will not quite be able to do what they want. Although Snarly will drop to make it a 3v3. Okay. Timing was good for T-Dog, but they did not find the kill. I thought it was going to be yet another unfortunate timing. But not quite. T-Dog is just going to very adamantly watch this spike. Nerve is ready for a push up through rope. Okay, and there you go. Cobra going to be spotted there. And now they back up, ready to aggress this mid. They're pushing up. They want to take this fight, and they do. Darkest finds one. Nerve takes out Darkest and Zoe Stole. And then meanwhile, Zeldris was watching that rope area, and Nerve will end up, or sorry, not Nerve, Zoe will, or oh my gosh, Cobra will end up falling in my brain. And now it's a 5-5 scoreline. QoR has tied it up. Again, this is still okay for SaD, right? They've gotten at least 5 rounds. 5-7 is pretty much a balanced half on split for your offense. That's a good start, right? It's not bad. It's recoverable. I think they would like a little bit more if they could get it, but it's not necessary. And I do think they can be in a good spot in their defense, especially with how calm and collected, and even a little bit slow at times, SaD likes to play it. That's really going to be beneficial on your defense. You have more time to think. You have more time to play around. And you have time to respond rather than act. Dark is going to take out Snarly this round. Started off. First blood for SaD. Big, as they did spend a little bit. They went a bit on the half buy. They didn't force all of their money, but they did spend a little bit aggressively. T-Dog just traded off, however, but Viper's Pit has come out, and Spike, pivotally, gets to go down. It's the first time in a while the Spike has gone down in this half. Nerve able to take out Skarn, who was trying to catch a good timing. Will be punished for that, and now it's going to be a player down for SaD. Zeldris with an operator, making sure nobody's going to try and swing ramp. Bob does, and that's going to be a pick for Zeldris. Cobra, though, going to take out T-Dog and Nerve. That's big, because that's immediately going to even it out. Darkest on top of the spike, ready to defend it. Zeldris now pushing in. Perfect timing, going to catch out Darkest, who was not expecting Zeldris to come from behind that quickly. And Cobra going to take out Zeldris. The decision to dash forward likely was not theirs. I imagine that was a misinput. I would hope anyway. And of course, Cobra happy to just take advantage of that vulnerable period after that dash is finishing up and you're still getting your gun out. So big for SaD, because again, now they've done more than what you need to do on offense, right? They got that 5-7 half, but now they can get that 6-6 half, which is even better. They could take the 7-5 half themselves, take the lead themselves, which would be really, really good considering next round is their, or next half is their defense. But at the very least, they've done like more than enough anyways. Anything else at this point is a really big plus. And I do think, obviously, they're not just going to lie down and let this round leave their hands. But that does mean some of the pressure's off to at least get the 6th round in the half and do something with the lead that they had to start off the half. They do convert it into something, right? They convert it into what is a pretty solid half on offense. And now we will see SaD get ready to push more towards A. And that ult orb, very ready to be picked up. It's very tempting. Skarn jiggle peeking a little bit. Ooh, Zeldris going to be spotted with that operator. We'll just back out. We're not going to give them the time of day. Sort of. Oh my god, Zeldris says Skarn is pushing through the air, going to find a kill. Darkest is going to be able to push and take out Zeldris as they try and use the Blade Storm. But that was huge. So it's now going to be a 4v4. Seekers did come out from SaD to help do a bit of entry work. Cosmic Divide comes out from QoR. Darkest takes out Ziff. T-Dog takes out Zoe. Now Cobra going to take out T-Dog. Darkest takes out Snarly. It's a 1v3 for Nerve. I think the timing on that was not amazing. And now Cobra going to be able to take out Nerve. You know what? Hey, at least they did shoot to try and cover up the sounds, right? And that does mean SaD has done pretty well for themselves. That's, again, way more than enough for your offense. And now SaD moves into the side that not only is just inherently favored on this map, but their composition favors. Obviously, they're running the more standard composition you see a lot, where you've got that Cypher, you've got that double controller. Sometimes it's with Astra, sometimes it's with Omen, but pretty much always with that Viper. And then, of course, Raze and Sky, right? Meanwhile, your opponent, you've got SaD, you've got QoR, sorry, has gone for this double duelist composition. Obviously, this is more popular just now that Chamber's not in it, so that way you can still have an operator player on your defense particularly. But now that they're on their offense, it does mean they've got that double duelist firepower, and we'll see what they can do with it. That does mean, though, as they've gone double duelist, double controller, they've sacrificed Sentinel. So that does mean SaD could possibly go for some pretty big flank plays and big lurks moving forward. That's going to need to be worried about at some point. Ooh, T-Dog will go down. First blood to SaD. It's a trade back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. 3 fall from either side, and then Ziff takes out Bob for a +1, and that leaves it in a 1v2 for Darkest. Okay, double headshot from heaven onto Zeldris. I have never in my life seen a Classic do that, and yet there you go. Darkest going to do it. I think maybe... I don't know. I'm just unlucky, I guess. My Classic doesn't do that. And trust me, I've tried. Trip gonna come through from Cobra, getting ready to set up onto this A site. Big for SaD, though, because they get the pistol. That's huge. That does mean now they've got the gun advantage here. And the lead that they already had coming into this half is only going to grow from here. As QoR is having to take an eco to SaD's anti-eco. This will make it difficult. QoR does decide to approach towards B, the 2-player hit. Skarn going to immediately take out Nerve. Zeldris going to be spotted, and I'll just get out of here. Meanwhile, the rest of their team is going for a 3-player push up towards ramp, which I wouldn't be, sort of expected here. Just because you're running double duelist, you can go for that double split play. 1 player pushing up through mid, 1 player pushing up through one of the other sites, that sort of thing. And they do that. T-Dog, they're going to take out Darkest, who was watching events. And off of that, QoR's like, yeah, we'll just run right through into heaven. Not expecting Skarn to be waiting in mail. And that does mean T-Dog goes down. But Snarly's there to trade it off. So it's going to maintain that 3-3. But of course, for their opponents who have the gun advantage, SaD could be in a good spot. So SaD's been waiting so patiently with this judge for so long on this site. Waiting to use it. And they're not going to get to as the long-range judge. This is not going to work well for them. It's now going to be a 2v3 for SaD. Okay. Bit of a spray with the stinger for Colbert. And now Colbert able to take out Snarly, making it a 2v2, evening it out. QoR Zeldris has wrapped around getting ready to do some good damage. And Bob is just going to stick the spike. And Zell just can't do anything about it. That is, I think, the third time today I've seen a player just stick the spike in one of those situations. And it just seemed like their opponent had no idea they were defusing. I don't know if they made it harder to hear the sound of the defusal starting or what. But at the very least, it's definitely proving to be something that's a lot more doable now, is sticking that spike. So, well played for SaD, who get yet another round. They did, however, I guess they lost enough players, though, that they're not going to have good guns on their defense, because they did lose all of their players. So, they are all having to take eco, and that does now mean QoR, who's on a buy off of that previous round, being an anti-eco, that they were on the eco end of it. They now have guns to work with. If they don't win this, they're going to be in a really bad spot. As I've said many, many times in this series. Because we've seen it happen many, many times where QoR does not win the very pivotal round, which is that round after the anti-eco. Nerve going to take out Kohlberg. Good start. Again, remember, SaD, although their previous round was an anti-eco, they weren't able to keep any guns into this bonus. So they're having to essentially take an eco round here. So that gives such a big advantage to QoR. We already see it play out with the first blood for their side. And I think QoR acknowledges this. They know they've got the gun advantage. They're not going to play as split up. They're not going to be playing as slow, strategically even. But it may hurt them, as Bob going to find 2 kills with the Sheriff. Okay, sure, why not? Bob also going to take out Zeldris. Snarly going to take out Bob. Skarn going to take out Snarly. And again, this team, SaD with GC players, I mean, this is looking like it's going to be very tough for any team facing SaD after this. Especially, again, I've said this so many times, but QoR is made up of Tier 2 players, Challengers players that were in Challengers last year. That's the players that are on this team. Like, that's how powerful this team is, and SaD is making it look so easy. As QoR's just been lost, caught out, they make wrong decisions and when to push. SaD is there to punish every single time, and I think that's the key difference between, like, Tier 3 and Tier 2 players and teams, is Tier 3 players oftentimes are not the best at punishing the mistakes their opponents make. Sure, you may be playing very, very well, but at the end of the day, sometimes Tier 3 players just don't necessarily punish their opponent's mistakes, and they make enough of their own mistakes that they're not quite able to compete against Tier 2 teams. And this is an opportunity where I'm looking at both of these teams as Tier 2 teams, playing against one another, and both of these teams are definitely looking pretty solid, and yet you've got one team very clearly doing better than the other. So Nerve able to take out Zostal. I don't know if this says more about the QoR team or SaD. I will say, I think for the QoR players who, of course, again, I said it before, they were in Challengers last year. They're not on any Challengers rosters right now. I think they feel pretty bad about that. They'd love to be able to be on one again. And I think it's with that knowledge in mind that is influencing so much of this this struggle here. And losing like this would be so devastating. Bob going to find 2. Zeldris and T-Dog both go down. And it's not like SaD doesn't deserve it, of course. I think a lot of these players have been fighting for a very long time to be in a situation like this where they can do well. Bob was, of course, on Cloud9 White, which was a very powerful team in the Game Changers roster. In the Game Changers circuit for a solid amount of time. And they did so well. But of course, you can win Game Changers championships all you want. It doesn't give you anything in the co-ed space. And I think SaD and Shopify as well are here to prove that it does not matter. Bob going to take out Nerve. Dark is going to take out Snarly. It's a 1v4 now for Ziff. Ziff going to take out Kohlberg. Ziff going to take out Bob. Skarn going to take out Ziff. It's now 2 players on the team for SaD. And that does mean 11-5. I keep yapping. I keep talking on and on and on about these 2 teams. And SaD just keeps winning back to back to back. it's now looking devastating if you are core. Again, they're sort of starting to see why you don't play this double duelist, double controller composition. Because even if it in theory gives you the edge on offense, if you're up against a team that understands how to use this composition, double controller with one duelist, one sentinel, one initiator, this exact composition that SaD is running is pretty solid, and a lot of teams have figured out how to make it work. And SaD is one of those. And so core is sort of learning the hard way that you can't just play with sort of this older brute force composition, which was needed to really break in, especially against a team like G2, which last year, not the G2 now, that's in tier 1, but last year's G2 in challengers, they were really, really good on split. They were bad, horrible on most other maps, but split they had figured out, and it was with this double duelist composition that a lot of teams were able to start to make some of the same grounds as G2 was. But since then, that meta composition has switched up very, very much so, especially in this off season, and towards the end of challengers as well, and very much so. And I'm going to say the off season of challengers, just because obviously champions and tier 1 takes place after challengers, or it took place after challengers, a lot of it last year. And in that time, a lot of progress is made in figuring out how to play split. And SaD is using that composition. Core struggling just a bit here. This round, Core just going to rush right in towards A, it looks like. Yep, just going to play aggressive. You're running double duelist. Let's use both of them. They're going to do just that. It does appear Kohlberg has something to say about it, though. Going to find one kill there. Going to get lurked around on, flanked around on, rather, from Snarly. That does make it a 4v4, but Kohlberg has done their job as the site holder, and they're going to find a kill, get some info before dying. And that does mean Spike does get to go down. But SaD is in a good spot here to play retake how they might want to. Snarly, though, able to take out Scar, and for whatever reason, there's two players on SaD that were nearing mid. For whatever reason, didn't start rotating until right now, after the spike had gone down. So Snarly takes out Bob. Perhaps they were expecting maybe a fake out. I don't know. So Zoe and Darkest each find a kill. Showstopper comes out from T-Dog. They want to put an end to it. And they're going to be able to. Darkest goes down. It's now a 1v2. Rizzo able to take out T-Dog. Going to have to stick this defuse. Not going to be able to get it half. And that does mean they're going to lose the round. And Nerve will also be able to find the kill. So good for Core. Finally going to shut down the success that SaD has had up until this point. I will turn up the volume just a bit more.
This goes here. Yes, that goes there.
No. Core does get to make their way towards trying to reclaim some rounds. This round, they're not going to just take the fast and aggressive approach. They're slowing it down, being patient. They're like art, painting. Sometimes you just got to be quiet, calm. Each brush of the stroke needs to be perfect and calculated. That's what Core wants to do here, right? They had success when they were just rushing in, and now they want to slow it down. And that's what they're doing. Bob gonna be the first to see it. T-Dog, both duelists, in fact, in heaven. Zeldris and T-Dog finds a good kill onto Bob. That player who's been such a key factor, no longer there for SaD in the round. Zeldris gonna take out Zoe. Darkest gonna take out T-Dog as they swing through the Cosmic Divide. Snarly, however, gonna take out the other two players on SaD, and just Darkest in a 1v4. And again, that very calm, quiet approach that Core took initially in the round pays off. They played a lot slower, and they didn't give SaD time to prepare. Darkest able to take out Nerve. Now it's a 1v3. Wrapping around towards screens. There's a Trailblazer, so can't quite do it yet. Doesn't get spotted. There's no time, truly, to defuse this spike at this point. However, they definitely can go ahead and try to find some exits. which they won't be rewarded with, as SaD is actually going to be moving towards the wrong direction, QoR exiting the opposite side of A. Darkest does get to keep their gun, good for them, but they don't get away with any kills, so they're not going to take down some of that eco. SaD now going to have to take an eco round. Of course, they do have a hero vandal going to be kept through on Darkest, and the timeout's going to be called. It's actually called by the IGL instead of the coach. And I do think SaD has just been struggling to slow down QoR. I think QoR has found their stride with this double duelist composition. Putting both of those duelists together means you're up against a lot of firepower if you see both of them. And I think these players have sort of been learning that the hard way. So I do think SaD needs to do a better job of slowing them down. How they want to approach that is up to them, but they do have quite a bit of stalling util. They've got a Sky. You can use Trailblazer, Seeker. I mean, you have Seeker. Sorry, my bad. You can use Trailblazer. You can use Guiding Light. Just truly any of your util can help give early info and or slow them down. Cypher, of course, you've got Trips to stall with. You've got Paint Shells, Satchel, Boombot. All of those can slow down pushes on your Raze. You've got a Paranoia on your Omen. You've got Snake Bites on your Viper, right? This is a very stall-heavy composition, hence why it is so used. And SaD has the opportunity to use it here to shut down and slow down the aggressive offense of this double duelist, and they haven't really been doing that. So they do need to start. Aaron and Nika, though, so this might not be the round to do that with, but we'll find out.
Cover going out.
Snarly going to take out Zoe. Skarn going to take out Zeldris. Snarly going to return the fire. Skarn goes down, and QoR starting it off very, very well. As they will be upper player, and B site is completely open. Nobody's really even near it. Darkest finally getting over towards B, but might be a little too late. Snarly could have been in a bad position if timing had been found, but Darkest isn't going to be able to push through that smoke. And as Kohlberg comes in to face that CT with the Darkest, there's a wide and long lurk around the other side. There's just not going to be time to defuse if you are SaD. So at this point, SaD is, it's an eco. They're okay losing it. They're up so many rounds. They're just going to try and find kills. That they cannot, as Nerve finds 2, and Snarly, with the 3rd kill on the round, takes out Kohlberg. And although it looked like maybe SaD was going to get away with a kill or 2, they do leave that round sticking true to their name. They don't find anything of note.
This goes here.
Now they're on a buy, though. Odin in the hands of their Omen. That'll be interesting to see. And we're talking about stalling. The Odin can do that, although obviously Ascent on Shova is going to be your best bet, but
Get out of my way.
there's a time and a place for it, I suppose. Skarn going to take out Zeldris. Now it's a 4v5. Viper's Pit has been used by SaD to really dominate this mid. That's really big, because it means only one of your players has to be present in mid, which means you can split up those players to defend one of the sites, and, one maybe you hear more noise on. Because even if nobody's going mid usually in the rounds, which often QoR isn't, it still can be a question mark in mid, and you still need to expend some players to watch it. But in this case, SaD does not have to do that. And now QoR, who's tested a little bit towards A and not found much, decides it's time for B. Because of the Viper's Pit, they are going to be testing through main, through garage. And we'll see as they slowly walk through. There's going to be an Omen to watch them and see it happen. Actually, the only player on Spike. On site. Okay. That Paranoia had paranoid everyone. That TP could have been perfect, but it just was whiffs onto the legs, so there was no kill found. That does mean Spike gets to go down. Not just that.
10 seconds left.
Counter Viper's Pit comes out.
Spike planted.
Oh my god. A tough fight for Snarly and Darkest. The counter strafing, not finding the right timings for Darkest. They do go down. It's now a 3v3. 3v3. There's a neural theft here, which does give a good amount of info to QoR. I mean, sorry, to SaD, my brain. Sick. Perfect timing on a Coburg. Backed up by the Suck, and Snarly going to be able to take out Skarn. Bob takes out Snarly, and Nerve. It's going to be a 1v1. There is absolutely time to defuse, but not if Ziff finds good timing, and they will. The health too low for Bob, who's been sitting in that Viper's Pit for just too long, and that does mean, oh, barely Ziff does die, so Spike goes off, Ziff dies, everyone dies, but that doesn't hurt QoR as much as it may for SaD, because QoR, of course, won the round regardless. They had eco saved up, they can still buy this round. It does hurt their eco a little bit, but that's not going to be too important for SaD, who are actually on an eco now. They've slowly watched this lead slip away from them.
Where are you?
This could be really, really bad for SaD. You do not want to lose like this and have to go to a map 3. Especially already on a day where you're having to play 3 best of 3s. Which is potentially a total of 9 maps. And up until this point, SaD today has only had to play 3. So they don't want to add any more to that than they have to. Especially considering they really want to win their upper quarterfinals match. Because if you make it to the upper semifinals, that's your chance. Tomorrow, you started off with the opportunity to try and win and qualify for challengers. And I don't think SaD wants to do that, having been completely worn out today. T-Dog going to take out Skarn. Ziff going to take a Zoe. Coburg able to trade off Ziff, but it is just perhaps too little too late as QoR is up a player. And after such a dominant bind, I would not have expected SaD to struggle in the way that they are now.
30 seconds left.
An aggressive play towards B. The dash on, guiding light. And it looks like QoR is going to be able to get on site. Dark is going to take out Zeldris. T-Dog going to take out Coburg. It's not going to be a 3v2.
Last player standing.
T-Dog going to take out Darkest. Bob going to take out Nerve. 3 kills T-Dog has gotten.
10 seconds left.
1v2 for Bob. Spike does get to go down. You notice a key difference here. SaD, a lot of times on their offense, didn't get that Spike down. Hence the only the 7-5 lead coming into this half. And QoR has really been successful in getting on site. They clear it out very effectively. Again, a lot of that stall util, even if it's used by SaD, doesn't do anything. Because it's not used, there's not enough time. QoR doesn't get to, SaD doesn't get to rotate to whichever side is being hit. This is a really slow map for the defense to rotate on, which is one of the only advantages the offense has. And I think that SaD just is not able to get that rotation moving quick enough, especially when they just tend to not be putting too many players towards mid. So there's not very many players ready to rotate. They lean A heavy a lot. And so if there is a B hit, it's often going to be a win for QoR. And even if there is an A hit, SaD doesn't really respond well enough to do much. This could be the potentially game-tying round for QoR. Really, really big round. Keep themselves in it. Skarn does start this round off, though, with the first blood. First time in a while we've seen SaD with the first blood without an immediate trade back. Bob going to take out Nerve. That means it's a 5v3. Could this be it? Zoe takes out Zeldris. Snarly takes out Bob. It's now going to be a 2v4 for QoR. Snake Bite used to stall. There you go. Prevent that push into heaven that maybe wanted to come through. Backed up by the Viper wall, creates a lack of vision. Snarly going to enter right into a cross, played beautifully by SaD. Ziff is ready for Coburg to come through vents. That spike does have to be picked up, though, and Skarn is perfect, waiting for Ziff. And finally, SaD has a good round for the first time in a while, where they're perfectly prepared for everything that comes, leaning towards A. It works out for them. They find those key first bloods without getting traded off. They're able to use their util to slow down. They're able to get their players to hold good crosses to get that spike down and out of the hands of their opponent. Huge for SaD, who's now up 12-2. They're 1 round away from a 2-0 to continue the aggressive path that they need if they're going to have hope of qualifying for challengers tomorrow.
Blinded.
Lots of spraying done. QoR defaulting a little bit. They're very aware of how pivotal this round is. Their eco is not amazing. Despite the impressive win streak they've had, they have been losing a decent amount of players despite those round wins. And that is absolutely going to become a factor here.
Cage, they found my wire.
Zeldris dashes right onto site, backed up by their fellow duelist T-Dog, but they are also shut down by Darkest. Nerve going to take out Darkest for a trade, but Skarn trades off Ziff. So now it's a 3v2. Spike does get to go down. Still very winnable for QoR. And that Cosmic Divide does a really good job of helping play some time. Trailblazer comes through. Ooh, Showstopper comes out, and actually there's a bit of a ring around the rosy situation as Snarly gets past and takes out Zoe. Bob's still there to trade it off, though, which means it's a 1v2 for Nerve, and Bob shuts it down. It seems SaD was done having fun, and now they get all serious to shut it down. 13-10, and SaD will take a 2-0 victory, moving on to the quarterfinals, where they will have the opportunity to make it to the semifinals, where tomorrow they will try and attempt to win and qualify for challengers, be one of the first Game Changers-esque teams, or teams with Game Changers players, to qualify for challengers in the history of the sport. Meanwhile, lots of games have been happening, so go ahead and update you guys on those. We have, of course, SaD going to be moving up and facing the winner of Thinking Men versus Burgerville. I'm probably going to try and spectate this as I get the opportunity, but we do still have some other matches that we can watch currently. We'll go ahead and take a look at the Blinn Esports versus Zero Marksman Black. There are currently casters on it. I'm actually going to have you listen to them for just a second, not the ad. I'll try not to have you listen to the ad. I'm going to have you listen to them for just a moment while I go get water, because I've been just talking and talking. Actually, the match is not currently happening. That's a bit disappointing. Okay, alright, sure. Never mind then. We'll find different one then. Please tell me you are currently running. Please? Yeah, alright. So you guys can watch this really quickly while I... Well, that is loud. While I go get some water, and I will be right back.
Spike down A.
Deploying drone.
Last player standing.
Dead fool. My ultimate is ready.
Right here. Scanning ahead. Right here. Revealing area.
Turret out.
Alright, so I am back. I will... Let me see how I want to do this. Yeah, I guess we'll just watch this to its end, and then we'll switch back to the other one, because it looks like Ambrosia has a pretty dominant lead right now. So this is still the upper bracket, of course. There will be no spectated lower bracket games until tomorrow after the upper semifinals have completed. Just because the upper bracket is typically more exciting, I guess. I don't know. I'm not the one who organizes the event. Regardless, we do have pretty solid from Winthrop at least. Blinn and Winthrop are the only two collegiate teams right now in the upper bracket. There is still Maryville as a collegiate team, but they're in the lower bracket. And so there's still an opportunity for a collegiate team to make it to challengers. And I think Blinn is the best chance. But obviously Winthrop University definitely not going to go down easy, although their previous map was fairly dominant, I believe, for Ambrosia. So we will see how this is played. Look at this. Winthrop going for a very aggressive play. They are heavily punished. Infiltrator not going to be successful. Satellite Nacrian shut them down. SaD with the Hunter's Fury is going to be able to get a counter pick, but it's too little too late. Ambrosia is now up a player on the offense, and the lockdown comes out. Nazi is just going to opt to die. And manages to take out Acreon. So that's pretty much exactly what they were hoping for. Still, though, they do get traded off immediately, and Ambrosia is going to be up a player. So, you know, you would have hoped for maybe a hero play, a double kill, but they're just not going to be able to get that. Jerk with an operator. It's a bit difficult to retake with an operator from Rafters, and I think Jerk just learned that. And Silipso also just going to find the final kill, and that does mean it is a 3v4. Wait, what? My brain is broken, I guess. It's 3-8. I've been doing this for too long today. 3-8, and that does mean Ambrosia is one round away from going into the next half. 9-3. Talk a lot about the 9-3 curse, but I just don't think it's going to be a factor here on Icebox. It's pretty clean, pretty balanced, relatively. Yeah, so I'm not anticipating anything too crazy. Winthrop is really liking these aggressive plays towards A. And this time it works. Moves is able to get a kill. Immediately traded off, though, via the resurrection. Which does mean you are now back in a 5v5. Satellite is able to take out the Sova Owl drone. They do get pinged, though. So it's very seen, and there's so much vision on this rotate over towards B through mid. Cyclipso extremely close, unexpected, able to find a kill, but Nazi has just taken out Torify, and Infiltrator is ready for Cyclipso. Acreon is still able to take out Moveso, and that will leave this in that evened out 3v3. Infiltrator going to be caught out by Acreon. Perfect timing there. I mean, they are working very diligently to clear out this player in Acreon, and they're able to do it. Jerk also going to be able to take out Roompa. It's big here. Ooh, Satellite will go down to Jerk, so it's not going to be a 9-3. It's actually going to be 4-8, so that's pretty solid for Winthrop. Again, not an even half, not a balanced half. They still have the disadvantage. It's important to acknowledge that, but there's more of a chance than if it was 9-3, right? If they can get this pistol, they have some hope. They do really need this pistol round. And Ambrosia has very clearly shown that they're not going to go down easy. And we'll see how they do approach this as Winthrop looks like they're going to move towards A. We'll see what damage they can do there.
Keep them out.
And Winthrop gets ready to push towards this A site. You see Torify ready to take this fight on Sage is kind of crazy. Mostly just looking for that ult orb, but not quite going to be able to grab it. Sova Dart does come through. The recon doesn't really spot anything. And now Winthrop does get to push in. Wall does help delay some. Spike can go down pretty shortly here. Satellite, though, going to take out Infiltrator. Move's going to take out Satellite. Nazi going to take out Torify. Although, Acreon going to take out Nazi. Acreon also going to take out Jerk before going down. So it's going to be this 2v2. Spike still isn't down. I think Guk would love to be able to place it down here. Able to pick up a ghost. Nice. Gotta plant default. That's fair.
Spike planted. Toxin screen down.
Last player standing.
Moves with a Sheriff able to take out Roompa. Cyclipso perhaps rather boldly decides to take the fight with the Sheriff. Neither party really wins, and then Guk is able to spray through the smoke with the ghost and find the final damage to close it out. And that does mean, I said, if Winthrop gets the pistol, they have a chance, and they did get the pistol. So now they move into that anti-eco. They should be able to take this round. Should be relatively easy for them. Entry going very, very well for Winthrop. Zerk will find 2. And then a 3rd is found as well. So Winthrop has gotten away with killing the majority of the players. They have pretty much free reign over the map, except for mid. Acreon's cleared out, which is good because Acreon's been having a game so far, at least from the short amount of rounds we've seen. Guk gonna take out Torify. Clean and easy there for them. Winthrop wins it. 3 players left alive. Majority, they go into this bonus with some solid guns. Infiltrator going to be able to get that Vandal as well. So, majority of the players, actually all of the players are going to have guns. 3 with Vandals, 2 with Bulldogs. Bit pricier than you usually see on a bonus, but Winthrop, of course, has done a good enough job where I think perhaps they might be okay warranting it. If they do lose, it's going to punish them a little bit, but, you know, they're buying better guns in the hopes that they'll win. So, I suppose you never expect to lose. Although you should plan for it. It doesn't matter. So if a drone comes up, not going to spawn anybody. Now he's over towards A near Maze. And now Winthrop approaches B, aggressing in. Meanwhile, Satellite and Nazi have a bit of a fight, and it does go the way
One enemy remaining.
of Ambrosia, and this is really going the way of Ambrosia. After quite a few kills found, it's just down to Guk to at least try and do some damage, which is typically what you want to do on your bonus. And Guk is in a 1v3 now. If they can get one more kill, they've killed the majority, and they're in a decent spot, but Satellite is not going to allow that. 9 HP left, and Satellite is going to be the one to get that kill. And that does mean Ambrosia is able to take the round that they should win off of losing that pistol. But like I mentioned, Winthrop did spend a bit more than you usually see. They can afford it. They're going to be able to buy this round as well. A little bit has to be sacrificed in the process, whether it was last round or this round. A little bit did have to be sacrificed, regardless. So it might be a bit more difficult, but you do see Ambrosia coming through here. Roompa is deciding to go for the Guardian. There's a chance they had that from the previous round. Actually, they probably did. I thought for a second I was like, they could afford a gun, but no. Move's gonna take out Satellite. It's not gonna be 5v4. Nasi gonna take out Roompa, and it seems very early on this is going the opposite direction as the previous round. Torify gonna be able to take out Infiltrator, but Move's going to follow it up with a kill. This double duelist composition of Reyna and Jet working very well for Winthrop in the offense, which of course is why you run an offense-sided comp. Acreon gonna be the one to take out moves after moves takes out Calypso. And Acreon's just gonna try and get away. Not gonna be able to defuse the spike. Fair, good choice. They are getting chased down pretty quickly though, so we'll see if they can survive. They will. May have had the opportunity to get a kill there, but oh, never mind, they won't. Guck gonna take it, Acreon. Okay, so now 7-9, Winthrop in a pretty solid spot here. I'm just gonna really quickly make sure our other match hasn't started yet. All right, we're chilling. Snakebite very much so ready to come out to aid in Winthrop's push here. Silverdart comes through. Roomba's actually, with the Sheriff, able to take an Infiltrator. It's a good start, although moves and Guck and Jerk and then Guck again, not gonna allow much else. Cyclipso no, nothing else. Jerk gonna shut them down. So, it's 8-9 now. Winthrop has the opportunity to tie it up. Keep in mind, Ambrosia went into this half up 8-4, so this is a bit of a disappointing way to start this half if you are Ambrosia. Now, on a bye, this is the pivotal round. If Ambrosia loses this, Winthrop ties it up, has the opportunity to take the map right from under their noses. If Ambrosia wins this, they definitely are in a good spot to try and gain some momentum and take the map. But for Winthrop, this could be a really big win for them, as it forces their opponent onto an eco, and they tie it up, so they can likely get the lead off of the next round win, where their opponent's on an eco. So this could be very, very good for Winthrop. They do need to win it. And they are going to start off by just aggressing A again. Got going to take it Acreon. Rimpa going to take out moves. Nasi going to take out Torify. Nasi also going to take out Cyclipso, sorry. 2v4 now for Ambrosia. They did not find themselves that immediate player advantage. We've seen many a time in this map, in this half particularly, that whichever team gets first blood is probably going to be the one to win. And considering where Ambrosia has found themselves in this round, might not go that well. Satellite with the operator though, going to peek from rafters, able to find a pick onto Nasi. I will say I do think Satellite's going to really struggle to figure out how to use this operator more and more. These retake scenarios. Bladestorm comes out, complete whiff onto Satellite. Or sorry, onto Infiltrator. Means a shot can come through onto Satellite. Roompa gonna take out Infiltrator. Guck gonna shut down Roompa though. They do come right into Nest, and Guck is waiting. 9-9 now, tied up. And Ambrosia has lost that pivotal round I said would be important. And that means Winthrop likely can get right onto the lead. This could be really, really good. Sorry, I just yawned. It's been a longish day. Calypso is going to take a bit of a defense. This is my first time, by the way, first time casting in a very long time. Taking like a month off for some stuff. So I was like, this is the time. This is how I started. This is how I will come back. So it's I'm not used to casting at all at this point, let alone for as many hours. Because here's the thing, right? It was like I got used to doing this by myself for like 7 hours. Okay, maybe not 7 hours, but like 4 or 5 hours a day. When Challengers was happening, because I was doing this, and then, you know, Challengers ended. I started doing casting for smaller events, and in those, I was only doing, you know, 2, 3, max I did was 7 hours. But that was a very rare occurrence. I think I did it twice. And I've done quite a few events at this point, so you know, doing this for this long by myself, not super used to it. I did actually end up solo casting a match at one point. It was a charity match twice for the same event because my co-caster left halfway through one of them, and then my co-caster didn't show up for the other one. So I was solo casting the whole time, which is unfortunate. But this is what this is for. This was the practice for that. Anyways, let's get back to the match. Time has slowed to a standstill. There was a timeout taken, obviously, by Ambrosia, hence why I was talking for so long, but Winthrop is not moving as quickly as they have been, and Ambrosia has been baited out into thinking maybe it's a B hit. It's not. It's yet another A hit. It's going to be a quick one as well. Satellite being wallbanged. Oh my god. Just completely caught out there. They are very much expecting someone there, and Satellite does go down. It's not going to be a 5v4. So it does get to go down. Slow Orb not going to do much in the way of delaying that. Move's going to take out Roompa. Nasi going to take out Acreon. Infiltrator going to take out Calypso. And Torify. 3 kills on the round for Infiltrator. It's 10-9. It's flawless to take the lead. And Winthrop is very much so looking down the barrel of a win here that could take them to the upper quarterfinals. And if you win your upper quarterfinals, as I've said many, many a time, you move on to the semifinals where tomorrow you started off. You have a chance to qualify for challengers. That'd be big. And for Winthrop University, they did not want to get knocked out of the upper bracket like this in a 2-0 fashion. Obviously, Ambrosia is currently up in map, so they can afford to lose this map. But Winthrop cannot. And they've definitely used that as motivation here to make this comeback coming into the second half. And hey, I talked about Bind being one of those comeback maps for some challengers teams, but it seems the Winthrop, it might just be Icebox. Winthrop does get ready to approach the site, and in response, Ambrosia sends out the Viper's Pit. Controller util galore. Winthrop's actually going to be trying to move out of the site. Acreon's going to take out Guk. Infiltrator, however, is able to trade it off and continues to grow their lead. Calypso will fall. It's now going to be 3v4 for Ambrosia. That Viper's Pit no longer on the site. Spike is down. Time, very much so, of the essence. As Ambrosia, if they lose this, I would say if Ambrosia loses this, they lose the map. That's my prediction here. And Nasi going to get a pick with the operator after kill has already been found. Satellite and Torify just going to save their guns. They understand the severity of the situation, because here's the thing. Eco, not good for Ambrosia. They lose this round. They move into the next round. It'll be 11-9 for Winthrop, and Ambrosia will be on an Eco round. That would make it so Winthrop will likely get to match point, and Ambrosia does not want to have to fight an opponent on match point. Saving these 2 guns could help them try and prevent that. But at this point, it is very, very difficult for them. So the rest of the team will have to be on an Eco position. A little bit of guns forced here and there. 2 on Sheriffs, 3 on Vandals. This, again, going to be difficult for Ambrosia. It's actually going to be 2 on Vandals, 3 on Sheriffs. Not the other way around. We'll see what Winthrop can do to try and deny a successful Eco for Ambrosia. And honestly, Winthrop's been winning the buy rounds. I don't think the Eco will be much of a threat to them, because they've been flowing through these rounds. Every round looking better than the last for Winthrop. They just seem to be so comfortable on this offense. For a while, they were only testing A. Now they've started to test early into B. Still haven't had any B committals, but they've definitely tested it. And Calypso just completely caught out here. Wrap around from Moobs. Going to find the kill. Acreon actually going to be able to take out Moobs, who was using Dismiss to try and find a bit of a peek. And they were denied that after coming out of the Dismiss whilst peeking. They do get punished. It's not going to make it a 4v4. Spike threatens the plant, and the slow orbs themselves. Okay, interesting. Infiltrator will be able to take out Roomba. Infiltrator will also take out Acreon. Torify takes out Infiltrator. It's 2v3 right now. Spike still has not gone down. Winthrop understands this. Let's just get out of here. That's exactly what they're doing. Not before leaving a player to lurk, though. And Nasi, the player who is lurking, will find a kill. Torify goes down. It's a 1v3 now. And, well, a decision made. Let's walk right back. Satellite in this 1v3 needs to take the fight now while it's isolated. Able to do so. Now it's a 1v2. Don't really have a good way as a Jet to isolate fights. You're just going to have to take them as you can get them. There you go. That's one way to do it. One bullet left in the chamber. Not expecting the player to peek. Wow, what a response. This spike is being threatened
10 seconds left.
over and over and over again. Still not baited. Oh, and Jerk made the pivotal decision, the risky decision to plant with 4 seconds left, which is the minimal amount of time. It takes 4 seconds to plant the spike. So obviously, if you are Satellite, you're assuming they're going to stick it. But Jerk was faking it. And the reason was that way they could take the fight and try and win that way. But they lost anyway. So they overcooked a little bit. Perhaps threatened the plant for a bit too long. They could have definitely planted. There were many opportunities. They just got a bit caught out there. And that was that pivotal round. Winthrop could have won to take it to match point, and they didn't. Mess up right there at the end, and a clutch can come through. Ambrosia now finds themselves in a 5v4 as we start out this round. Satellite is able to find the first blood. Jerk immediately trades it off there. Torify goes down. Satellite is very low on HP. Attacker lockdown now comes out as well. Counter lockdown could come out in response. Although it'll have to wait until this lockdown expires. There's just no time anymore. Plant does have the opportunity to go down here. Acreon, though, does take out Jerk. So that will keep it in favor of Ambrosia. Roomba does a very good job finding 2 pivotal kills. Guk does the same. But still, going to find themselves in what was a 1v4, now a 1v2. You have no idea where Guk is. Not expecting a Nest. And Nest. Guk from Nest might be able to find a kill there. 3 Ks now. The Satellite falls. 1v1. Spike has to be faked. Oh my god, the 1v4 from Guk. And Lipshow falls to give up a pivotal round. That was expensive for Ambrosia. They put everything into that. And now they're going to have to go into the first round on match point with an operator and some sheriffs to their name. An operator. Sorry. Almost let bad English take a hold of me.
This is gonna be fun.
2 rounds away, Ambrosia from taking it to overtime. Narrowly clutched out a 1v3. Responded is a narrowly clutched out 1v4 from Winthrop. Satellite gonna take out moves. Infiltrator gonna take out Torify. Target hit. 4v4. Sova, Owl Drone coming up. Recon Bolt goes through. Infiltrator in a bit of danger. They know where they are. They can't quite peek from where they would like. Operator in place here. Smoke gonna come up. It actually helps the offense more than anything. Never mind. Perfect timing on the drop. Satellite gets to find a kill. Still, though, Jerk pushing in towards Kitchen through Tube is able to find a kill. They immediately back out, though. They are not risking getting traded off here. They do not want to give that player advantage to Winthrop. Or, sorry, to Ambrosia. My bad. The other way around. 12-10 here. Spike gonna be picked up. Defender lockdown comes out. Huge action. That's big for Ambrosia. Time can be played. A flank gets to prepare itself. There's an alarm bot, though. And, ooh, it's spotted.
30 seconds left.
Goes off. Destroyed. Winthrop now has some paranoia. Is this flank coming through? Is it going to be committed? They don't really matter, or sorry, they don't really care about it too much, though. Viper's Pit just comes out. Still going to have to worry about their flank at some point. They don't know if they're coming or not. They're not, but they don't know that necessarily. Silipso are going to take out Guk. Jerk takes out Acreon. Jerk takes out Silipso. It's down to Satellite. They're not going to win it, and Jerk clutches it out with a 4K to take it 13-10, and Winthrop takes it to a map 3. It looked like 8-4. It was not going to go their way, but it does, and now we can move back over to SaD. Alright, sorry, I was just watching some stuff. This is the one we're watching actually. I don't really want to I'm losing it. I am losing it. I'll quickly update you on the scores. We'll take a look at that. Not those. Let's take a look here. So you can see SaD beat QoR. We already covered that 2-0 fashion. It's going to be tough whoever they have to face. Thinking Men and Burgerville are currently tied 1-1, deciding who's going to face SaD. Winthrop University and Ambrosia, which we just watched, currently 1-1. BTR Fan Club and Shopify Rebellion, currently 1-1. Blinn Esports is up 1-0 currently against Zero Marksman Black. We can take a look at that. The Glazers and Nightblood are currently tied. Both of their matches took quite a while to get started, and now this last one is going to take a while as well. Lucky 7 has beaten St. Clair Saints 2-0 to make it towards those upper quarterfinals, and the 1337 versus YFP Gaming match has gone the way of YFP to start it off. So there you go. I mean, if you're wondering why everybody's fighting for the upper semifinals, wouldn't you want to fight for the upper finals? It's just because the top 2 from the upper bracket qualify and the top 2 from the lower bracket qualify. So there's no need for an upper finals. So it's just the upper semifinals, basically. And any teams that don't win up here get knocked down to lower bracket. It is a massive lower bracket just because they decide to start it with 32 teams. This is standard. They've done this in the past. This is how Game Changers has worked as well. It's not unexpected. But obviously it's tough to fight through. There's no way of getting around that, obviously. I am very hungry. It's okay. I'll take it. I'll take care of that after. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Zero Marksman Black match. Okay. Bit strange. I won't make you watch that. Don't worry. You see what Knights Arena is posting to their Twitter really fast. Over on my other monitor. Nothing too crazy. Only one clip has been posted, so we're not missing anything apparently. All right, let's take a look here. Oh my God. It looks like Blinn is willing and very ready to close this out insanely fast. I'm keeping the volume very low because there's casters on this one. Okeanos, Teague, Okeanos again. Blinn, of course, the best or one of the best collegiate teams right now, competing in Challengers, has the opportunity to be the first collegiate Valorant team to qualify for Challengers. Mikey takes out Tim. 1v5 now. I've seen Zero Marksman Black play in tournaments that I've casted before. They're a very good team. They are a very well put together team. Hence why they've made it this far. But when you're up against a collegiate team like Blinn, you are going to be facing an insane amount of pushback. I actually think there's a chance I've had the opportunity to interview one of the players as well. I think I've interviewed Tim potentially. I'm not sure though. I wish I could say I remember everything, but I really don't. So Blinn takes the first 2 rounds of this half on Sunset. Now 2 rounds away from a win. Zero Marksman Black does have the gun advantage, of course. Bonus though for Blinn, has quite a few guns to work with. Okay, one way, not going to find much contact for either party. You see Zero Marksman making a play up through mid. Trying to find some contact. Monsi is right there. Blast's going to take them out. Now it's a 5v4 for Zero Marksman. A little bit chaotic. Okay, alright. Spreading around. T going to take out Kev. Spaz going to take out, And Blinn is looking to take this very aggressively. Nanos is able to find a kill, but it's returned with 2 from Blinn, and it's just down to Tim to clutch out a 1v3 for any hope of keeping their team alive, and they can't, and now they're eco horrible. Blinn in a very good spot as they're on match point. 12-3 right now. They could be taking this map to... Keep in mind, I didn't say this earlier, but I'll say it now. Icebox was the map pick from Zero Marksman, and it went 7-13. Now it's Blinn's map pick, and it's 12-3. So, could could just, I mean, I think perhaps Zero Marksman just missed their opportunity to take a win on Icebox on the map that they picked, and now that they're in the breeding grounds for whatever Blinn has cooked up, the choice of how they want to play each round is sort of out of their hands, honestly, with how dominant Blinn has been. Looks like Zero Marksman in a round that they so desperately need to win to stay in this upper bracket are attempting to opt towards this A site. Concussion comes through. Monsi takes out Yanel. 4v5 right now for Zero Marksman. Now we do see Spaz able to take out Tim. 3v5 right now for Zero Marksman. Okeanos takes out Kev. 2v5. Okeanos takes out Nanners. 1v5. And it might be a flawless final round. Say it ain't so. And it is. It's a flawless final round. 3 kills. And that means Blinn will qualify for the upper quarterfinals. Alright. And they're looking very strong. I mean, if there is a team that I'm looking at and going, they might be the team. They might be the team to shut it down and end up winning and getting towards qualifying for challengers and putting up a real fight against the teams that are already there. I mean, this is it. This is going to be a very difficult fight here. Let's see. It's not quite back on yet. So we're sort of just playing the waiting game, I suppose. So, yeah. I guess you're just waiting. Apparently they're heading into map 3 now. I think they're talking about Shopify, though. Potentially. Maybe? I have no idea what they're talking about. Dude, I am dead. My voice has killed itself. Alright, I think, at this point be taking my leave, unfortunately. I just, I'm not used to this yet. I don't have that much stamina in me. I did not get that much sleep last night. Anyway, I do apologize, but I do think this is going to be it. I'm very excited to be back with Challengers. I really, really love Challengers a lot. Even a little bit, maybe a little bit more than Tier 1, maybe? I don't know. Don't tell anybody I said that, though. So yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the way the rest of this plays out. Tomorrow is going to be big. It starts off with a banger of the upper semifinals, where fortunately each upper semifinals match is going to be separated. So at different time slots, so we can see both. And it's going to be exciting because whoever wins in the upper semifinals qualifies. That's it. That's full stop. They qualify for challengers, not for another phase. It's for challengers, the main event. So that's huge. That's absolutely where you want to be. So that's going to be exciting. Both of those upper qualifiers are happening tomorrow, as well as the start of the lower bracket, and then the lower bracket will finish on Saturday. There you go. I know days. So I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here on Saturday. I'll be trying to take a good look at the rest of them. But just for right now, upper quarterfinals are happening right now. if you want to go watch those, you can go ahead and do that. It's been really, really fun. I'm very, very glad to be back, and hopefully after this, I'll start casting other events as well, more tier 3 events. I know some people who've said some things. We've got some exciting tier 3 events coming up as well. So, you know, if you like that, you can follow me on Twitter, and I'll let you know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's live stream. If you guys did enjoy, sure, scroll down, super subscribe. If you are, thank you so much. If you aren't, I hope you consider it. That's gonna be it for me, and I will see you all tomorrow.